What's up, 12s? It's Loaf the Tuba with the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you for another Coach's Corner here on this Monday. It's an early Coach's Corner, actually. Normally we do this show on Tuesday, but it's Super Bowl Sunday. We figured no Monday Night Football. We're going to get right into it while the iron's hot. So, man, we are going to jump right into this unexpected game. Super Bowl 55, we thought it was going to be a lot of fireworks back and forth. The number one offense with the Chiefs tearing it up, going against the number one defense. Well, it looked like only one of them showed up because the Chiefs didn't even score a touchdown in this game. Crazy. And, man, Mahomes looking a lot like Russell Wilson running for his life back there. What is going on? We're going to have to find out from Coach Marsh exactly why he thought this game turned out the way it did. And I'm going to ask you guys jump on the show as well. You guys can come in with your questions. If you join the Discord right down below there, it's also in the link in the super chat, in the chat as well as in the description. You guys can jump in and I'll pull the Discord up and we'll try to get some questions from you guys as well. So it's going to be pretty cool to get some breakdowns of this game. I can't wait to see what plays Coach Marsh has pulled up and to see what what we got in store for the Coach's Corner. So before I do, I just want to quickly just remind everybody, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would smash the like button, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It's a huge help for my channel, and it's just huge support, and I really appreciate it. In fact, I'm very grateful because I just broke 46,000 subs last night during the Super Bowl broadcast, where there was quite a lot of people watching. So I appreciate all of you guys who have subscribed from whether in the beginning or in the last day or two. Thank you for being on, supporting my channel. It's much appreciated. And one last thing I got to shout out to is also my sponsor here, Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. Right over there, one of the biggest Seahawks fans I know in the area. Also a really good real estate agent. So if you or anybody you know, your parents or friends, aunts, uncles in the Seattle, Puget Sound area is looking to buy or sell a house, he is the guy to contact. He will hook you up with his white glove concierge service and make sure that your house looks perfect to sell. And they'll get you hooked up with another one, finding just the right house that you need, whatever your needs are. So Daniel Dovin Real Estate, appreciate your support, brother. Without further ado, let's get into it. It is the Coach's Corner with the star of the show, Coach Bill Marsh. Coach Marsh, welcome back to another Coach's Corner, man.
Hey, excited to be here, man. I mean, this is, I know I say that every time, but it seems like every time we do this, there's something kind of fascinating to talk about or interesting or what have you. So just a crazy Super Bowl, man. I mean, I talked about last week how excited I was to see it, but then I wasn't sure if I was excited because of what was going on. But man, as the game went on, it was a fascinating kind of drama to watch how it played out, and then to just see the afterwards, that kind of the fireworks that took place, with regards to Brady, because there's definitely people that love him and definitely people that hate him. And then there's people that put videos out on how they love him and hate him, NorbCam. So, in case you wonder if I follow you, of course I follow you, but yeah, just crazy stuff. And I mean, but what was refreshing, Norb, is it was nice to have like 24 hours where there was just something different to talk about finally, after a year of what we've gone through and all these other things, to just, whether you like Tom Brady or not, I'd rather be talking about that than some of the stuff we've had to talk about.
Yeah, no kidding.
Over the last year, right?
And it is really kind of a miracle in itself that we actually made it to this season. A lot of us didn't even know if we'd make it through this half a season, get through and then fall apart. And we actually made it to the end. And it was actually a pretty solid, enjoyable season that had a few hiccups. But for the most part, it was kind of like our escape from the rest of the world to just be able to watch football. And it felt, when you watch TV, kudos to the broadcasting team. They made it feel like you're watching a normal old football game, other than the fact that you might only saw cardboard cutouts and a few thousand people in the stands. So they did a good job of keeping this thing going, and it was a good finish to it.
The only, the bummer for me was you end up watching so much pre-stuff, right? I mean, there's only like 18 consecutive hours of lead up to the Super Bowl on the channel that's running it, right? So you can't, it's just overload. But at the same time, you start seeing so many, the cutouts in the background. And honestly, if you just started watching the game and didn't watch any of the other stuff, I agree. To me, it felt like a Super Bowl. I mean, the energy felt like it was there. I felt it while I was watching it. I just kind of, you don't think about the fact that there's cardboard cutouts, and there's some people there and everything else. But I thought they did a great job. The NFL, I think as a whole, really did a phenomenal job. It's easy to sit back there and rip on them, but it's not like they had some sort of a template to go on how to deal with an NFL season through a pandemic. I mean, I don't know if the 1921 or whatever the year was for the Spanish flu, if they had a template back then for the NFL. But, you got to give Goodell and those guys credit as much as they rip on him and stuff. He earned that $30+ million this year, and I think they did a heck of a job.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had football season to the very end to be our little escape and to keep guys like us who just are more than just watching it, but we're building all this content trying to be part of the game. And it would have been terrible to have the season shut down. I'd be like, what am I going to do with myself for the next 3 months? So it was great that we could continue going and have the sport of football that we love so much to be able to keep talking about it, keep making videos about it, and just follow it right up to the end. So we could do things like talk about why we hate Brady or we love Brady or both, or why our team isn't in the Super Bowl.
I think I know where you sit, man. I think I know where you sit. I think the jury's still out for me, or if people, whether they know I know it or not. But and again, it was just fun to have, in the game itself, you want to have hope, just like in life, you want to have hope. And so I think it was just neat to, from a macro level standpoint, and I don't want to get super deep here, but that's how I was as a coach. Obviously, I like the philosophy of the game and how it does relate to life and such. So I did try to teach those life lessons, and I think the hope that it gave everybody, again, from that standpoint of, to literally be able to escape it for a full day and just have fun and laugh and get into it. And even at the end, you're just wondering, people were, who's going to be the MVP and all these other things. I didn't think that was going to be possible. So that was neat. And then inside the game itself, I think the hope was gone pretty quickly for Kansas City. But at the same time, again, I love games that bring on storylines that you just don't expect. If Kansas City blew them out, expected. Tight game won by Kansas City, expected. Tight game won by Tampa Bay, expected. Nobody expected, I don't think, a blowout by Tampa Bay.
No, especially not one where they didn't score a single touchdown. Even the last Super Bowl you have to go to that it was not competitive like this one was our Super Bowl 43-8 over the Denver Broncos, in which at least they scored a touchdown in that game. Patrick Mahomes and that offense of Kansas City and Eric Bieniemy, you wouldn't think that this offense would never have been capable of not scoring a touchdown, and yet that's exactly what happened. So, and I don't want to get too much into the Bieniemy piece right now, except for the fact that it doesn't. And I'm never going to take one game and make that the overarching piece of a coach, right? He still absolutely deserves to be a head coach, great guy and everything else. But man, oh man, there weren't a lot of shots of him calling plays when they fell behind by 14-21. All these games where they've been in the lead, you constantly see shots of him and calling the plays, and then Andy and everything else. I think you could tell pretty quickly that that Reid was calling him, and it's been pretty chronicled that Andy Reid's going through some stuff. And again, you don't want to make an excuse, but he's a human being, and so I remember games where things were tough. Something personal is going on, and you're trying to get through the biggest game of your life, and you're trying to coach, and the emotions are there. So just a lot of things going on that again, it just seemed like it was just a melting pot and emerging spot of just disaster. I mean, for Mahomes to only have go over the 100-yard mark with just barely under a minute to go in the third quarter, I mean, just never
unimaginable.
Yeah. It's a bad day.
I think the final piece, and then we can go into this. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, Kansas City had a bad day. Bad time to have their worst game, in the Super Bowl, and really so many things went wrong all at the same time. And it's just, sometimes it happens, but unfortunately it's the worst to have it on a day where you just don't get a makeup. You don't get that. Well, we'll just make up for it next week. We'll win next week. We'll be all right. It's like, this is it. And unfortunately they had their worst game on the worst possible stage. Yeah. It happens.
And you know what I saw last night, of course, all the Brady haters, a lot of people were complaining about the flags and all these other things. Hey, you know what? Brady didn't keep Kelsey from dropping a pass on 3rd and 8. Brady didn't, help the punter shank the ball right after that. Brady didn't have the ball, drop out of Hill's hands. A lot of things. And of course, he got favorable calls because he is so did Michael Jordan, right? And and we always watched Michael Jordan keep on going. So regardless of what people feel, when you're watching greatness, Norb, and I've always said this, I would rather be around to watch greatness than be wondering who is the next great guy because there's nobody out there. And I think we were really quick to crown someone. Again, Mahomes is he's a Hall of Famer. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. but can we let the guy win maybe 2 Super Bowls before we put him up there with, the
baby
future goat
term,
and ready to
yeah.
go? I mean,
Right.
if you're going to put him there, then let's put Russell Wilson there already. Then
Yeah,
Russell Wilson
they're
should be
even right now. They're even. So,
well, and one has more wins in the history of football in his first 9 seasons than somebody else. So, again, we're always about what have you done for me lately and what's happening now, whether it's music, movie, right? Like very few of us go back in time and go, well, actually, you know what, that other than guys like you and me who go into the 80s and go, yeah, the 80s is the greatest decade ever.
Well, it is, but yeah.
It is. Quite frankly, it is.
Even my girls say that. They wish they were alive during the 80s.
Go ahead, what were you going to say?
No, even my girls say, oh, it must have been fun to be alive during the 80s. I'll play some 80s music and they'll say, wow, this music is so fun. That would have been a fun time to be alive. Like,
except for Seahawks football. For the most part.
Except for a couple of years, yeah.
But one of the videos I'm going to put out and then we'll go to the plays. I sat there this morning because I saw so much with regards to the Brady haters putting out the stuff on the flag, like the penalties in the last couple of weeks. And so I went back and watched every clip of the Super Bowl that we lost, with Hasselbeck and Holmgren and all those guys. So I'm going to put together a little video to give a little perspective of what it's like to really have not only officiating it impact you, but other things impact you. Because when I watched that game, like I forgot how many just crazy weird things took place in that game. And to the point that the best tackler in the history of the Super Bowl is Matt Hasselbeck. I mean, he had 3. Now, not good that your quarterback's making tackles. Yeah, he had 3 phenomenal tackles in that game, including one that cost a 15-yard penalty.
He got a flag call on
it. So anyway,
it's
just perspective is a crazy thing.
And I think there was, even though the Tampa Bay was playing as the home team in the host Super Bowl city for the first time, Detroit and Pittsburgh had a better home field advantage than Tampa Bay did last night when it came to Super Bowl 40. I mean, it was not even close. Obviously, if there was a packed stadium last night, that'd be different. But it was crazy how much was in favor of the Steelers in that game before the whistle even started. But before we jump into the plays, I know that's what everyone was dying to get into. For those people who are watching this for the first time, they may not know who you are, Coach. So why don't you give everybody a little bit of a quick, brief introduction of who you are, why we're listening to you here.
So I've known Norb for almost 25 years. We go back quite a ways. He did our football highlight videos, and I was a coach, head coach for a long time at a local school, and I've spent 28 years, nearly 28 years. One season I had to cut short because of an illness, and that's why I ended up retiring. So a better part of 28 years coaching in the state. I have a lot of great connections. My high school coach was Sherman Smith, who was the running backs coach for the Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans, and I talk to him on a nearly weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis. One of my position coaches in college, he's a coordinator for University of Georgia, and I've had a really neat opportunity to go spend some time with some great coaches. So, I think from a credibility standpoint, I'm still just the average fan that likes to see things, but I had a really fun career. I try not to get too much into my own personal accolades and those things, but it was a lot of fun because I had great coaches, assistant coaches, and great players that played really hard for me. So Norb gave me this awesome opportunity to come out and start picking on some plays, picking on some teams, maybe picking out some plays, to just break them down and give the fans a perspective of how to really maybe look at the game from a different angle. Maybe we see things that we think are happening that didn't happen, or we think something didn't happen that really did happen. So that's kind of my background. Again, longtime coach, great friends with Norb, and have watched him develop and grow both as a YouTube person, but also as a professional videographer. And again, he created what was arguably the greatest highlight videos in the country, some of which I'll be continuing to tap out onto my own channel this week that I launched last week. And I appreciate all the people in NorbCam land who have been sending me some really nice compliments and nice comments along the way.
Yeah, congratulations. Definitely check out Coach Marsh's channel, Coach for Life on YouTube. Had his first stream. It was awesome, a fan panel last week, and I know it's just the start of many awesome videos to come. So it's great to see you out there doing your thing, man. And just to add to your history, when Mike Lorraine and myself of Quantum Productions teamed up with you for over a decade of doing videos for you, the highlight videos that you mentioned, they were great times. And really what made that fun was the fact that you weren't just a coach allowing us to be part of it, but you wanted to do really cool video stuff for the kids. So it wasn't just us to record plays, but we were coming up with skits and music video ideas and anything to just kind of make
staying
the
up
kids
till
funny.
2 a.m. at high school fields when I promised them we'd be out of there by 10.
That's how it goes.
Because Norb would bring a storyboard of this thick of pages that very immaculate in terms of what he wanted to cover, and then again we would create these great themes. And I think the one thing I haven't shared before with people, and then I want to get to these plays. However, Norb, I may need a quick tip or something quickly reversed on my piece. We're going to have to do a video switch transition to they're reversed, okay. So we got to fix it in the pot player real quick.
Oh, okay.
But they weren't reversed 60 seconds ago.
Really? Okay.
But one of the things that took place was, Norb would come out and we'd create these videos, but the openings were these 3-minute, him and his business partner, Mike Lorraine, these just unbelievably powerful 3 minutes where they take the best of everything throughout the course of the season. And so it started off as just kind of hey, let's just throw some stuff together. By the end of my run, we were getting every single major college coach that was coming through recruiting our kids. First thing they'd ask was, can we see your highlight video? Can we see the opening of your highlight video? Can we see the end montage of your highlight video? And I'm like, yeah, but I got some players I would like you to talk about as well. But it was neat because they want copies of the DVDs. Now I know that takes us back a little bit, but then you guys were all mic'd up and you guys were, all those different shows that we have now before those shows were even around. So it was just a ton of fun. And again, I'm going to put some things out there on my channel that you'll get to see that have been stuck deep in the archives that I've dusted off into the virtual land of reality here for people to see. So,
all right. Well, so that's great. So I, again, appreciate this journey that we're going on together, and I'm excited now. It's the end of the season, and now here we are breaking down the biggest game of them all, Super Bowl 55. So, are you saying that we need to fix the plays flipped? Is that what it is, or something else?
The plays are here, but all of a sudden they got mirrored. They got reversed. And you're going to have to remind me of it. I'm sorry to everybody out there. We had it going well in the pot player. So I don't know if you want to come and see my screen for a second.
Let's see.
We just got to reverse it over.
Oh, so all you got to do is in pod player, hit Control Z, and it should flip it. But make sure you're on the pod player.
Yeah, I'm definitely on there.
They make one of the
people
most
out there
common
are probably
keys.
like, wait, we got a coach coming on and he's talking pot player. What's
It's the funniest
happening
name.
here?
Yeah.
What's going on?
So again, just a reminder to all you guys, if you have a question for the coach, join the Discord and then jump into the stream game day party voice chat, and then I'll pull some people in to ask questions live on the air about midway through the show and at the end as well if we have time. So once we get through this little technical thing.
Trying to get to reverse. It's not, I have to reverse it on the vertical or horizontal. The Control Z did not get it, and I apologize to everybody out there.
Is it flipped? Is it flipped horizontal mirrored? Is that upside down?
Yeah, it just flipped. Everything looks just.
Okay, so do this. Go in your player again. Go to right click video.
There we go. So you're coaching on the fly. This is
video effects, and then flip horizontal. This is part of, if you ever get into live streaming and doing OBS and all kinds of complicated stuff, you'll learn to fix stuff while you're on the fly. There's nothing worse than, like audio's not working, or that happened to me yesterday when I was working on doing my stream of the Madden game where I had a rematch between the Chiefs and the Bucs because I got killed by them the previous time because I threw like 5 interceptions or something like that. And I practiced and kept losing to them. Finally, I said, I'm going to do one more time before the Super Bowl. I'm going to try one last chance to be Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And I'm going to take Brady down. And what did I do? I took him down with a game-winning field goal to finish it.
About yourself?
Felt good, man. Well, I was playing all-pro, which for me, that's the hardest level I'm at right now, and I couldn't do it.
And we got it fixed. We're good to go. Thanks to Norb.
There you go.
Good to go.
You like how I just casually was killing time? That's a time killer right there. Just to buy time for my guest here. I was fixing stuff.
Now here's the thing with these plays. Obviously everybody, a billion people watch the show they don't watch our show yet, but a billion people are watching the Super Bowl. So some of these are going to be plays that obviously you have seen. Again, my goal here is to give you kind of an outlook on how did they attack it? What was the thinking? And again, what I love about Tom Brady, and this was the number one thing that I thought was the big advantage for Tampa Bay was 2 weeks for Tom. You give Tom 2 weeks to prepare, and that guy will break down every possible scenario and angle and this and that. But the real piece was the other side of the ball, right? The defense, how they played against Kansas City. So I got a handful of plays, about 5 plays for Tampa Bay and a couple plays on Kansas City. So you can kind of see the wrinkles that both teams did that they hadn't done before to make some things happen.
All right. So let's do this.
Let's get to it. Hopefully we'll be good to go there, and make sure I'm in there.
You got you a full screen up in there in the player?
Yep, that's what we're getting to. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So basically, this is going to be Gronkowski's touchdown. I'm going to be showing it again if you're new to the show. I usually show the play once and then I come back to it so you'll be able to see it. So again, as we see the play develop here. We're going to watch the play, and then I'll come back to what it is that we saw or anything else. And what they used a lot, and I mean a lot. And I had to go back because obviously I don't follow Tampa Bay throughout the course of the season, but I'm a fan. I like to see what they do. So much misdirection, on that first drive, they didn't do much. And then Kansas City goes down and kicks the field goal. And you could see Tommy Terrific here just kind of takes over with the very easy short game. And those of you who are Seattle fans, if you're joining because you're a Seahawks fan, I think one of the things you'll see here is just, again, how simple he makes the game, how he lives on the short pass, and how the short pass and the running game sets up everything else. And
I was talking Bill, Coach Marsh, and I wasn't sure. Are you planning to put your face in the corner, or are you going to just go with it like this?
Oh, well, let's see. Let's go ahead and put the face in the corner.
Okay, all right.
You want to see it?
Okay. I was talking to a good friend of mine, Kurt, one of the guys I made my movie with, our horror movie, Frayed. We were just talking right before this because we talk Seahawks, we talk football and stuff as well. And he said, man, watching Tom Brady with the Buccaneers, I felt like I was just watching the Patriots. It felt like the same game. And I'm curious to see if you feel like totally different teams, totally different coordinators, totally different coaches and all that. And yet the game looked the same. I'm just curious if this is a thing about what you're talking about, making Tom Brady, making the game fit the way he plays, or, are we just seeing things?
So here's exactly what I told someone this morning, because someone else asked me the same question, like, gosh, didn't it just feel like a repeat of New England? Well, no, because the head coach was obviously totally different personality, but take your best friend in the working world. So for you, it's Mike, for me, it's a buddy, anybody, take your best person and go to another organization that's similar. Even if they're running different systems in that organization, you're still going to find a way to work together, to bring out the best in each other, to connect with each other, to work on systems together, work on plays. So Gronk and Tom, they spend forever years together. Gronk's a Hall of Famer. He's Hall of Famer because of Tom. Now they go down there. It doesn't matter what the plays are. Tom just knows where he's going to be based on Gronk's speed, the angles he cuts out. I mean, that's when you're talking about quarterbacks and receivers finding timing. There's nobody better at it than Brady. That's why he excelled so quickly, from where he was drafted to where he was, because he figured out how to understand the timing of routes that receivers make that play for him. And they're all different, right? Antonio Brown breaks differently than Gronk does. So what we see here is, again, the misdirection, and this looks like, basically looks like a read option that's taking place from the front set, and it truly is. I mean, the fact that Tom Brady is making it look like he's going to have a read option take place is fantastic. And here, Norb, when I watched the film, the theme that is just evident all the way throughout is they wanted to create space on the opposite side of wherever they're either making the run go or making it look like the pass was going by trying to make the linebackers move out of position, which essentially is the same as what a bootleg does, right? A bootleg, you're trying to get a player to go out of position. Well, here, what you can see taking place is, look at these linebackers back here. They have to respect the run. So from the beginning of the play, the linebackers have to respect the run that looks like it's going this direction. Gronk's going to be coming across here, but here's where the magic takes place, because people always wonder, well, how does a guy like Gronk get so wide open? He's on the field, right? And the guy's got to be the most hyper guy in America. So he's probably talking and everything else. I'm going to show you exactly how. So first, play action. That gets these two guys going. It looks like it's run to the right there. But watch our wide receiver. And again, if you're new to the program, other than me talking about Brady and Gronk, I try to just talk positions, not by name, so you can kind of learn a little bit of the game. Watch right here. He just gets in the way, but he can't do a pick in case there's a pass that gets thrown down the field. But this is without a doubt going to Gronk. There's nothing else going to happen, because they do something that I've got on some of our receivers for doing on the top side. It's like these dudes are looking at each other saying, hey, are you getting the ball? No. You getting the ball? No. Tom's looking for Gronk. So what do these two guys do on the backside? Basically nothing. It's all right here. But what's great is that our wide receiver does a fantastic job of coming downhill and just getting in the way of this backer. This guy's actually got pretty good leverage, because typically when a guy goes this is not a motion, but it's an after play goes, he's switching across the field. Hard to see him. Well, this linebacker recognizes that right away. And if a guy can stay within a stride, because you're trying to gain leverage. And obviously Gronk right now has a good 1 to 2 yards leverage in front of this backer who has him. But look at Gronk's head. This is what makes him a Hall of Famer. Okay. You get a great little rub thing here that's about to take place, but he can't do it. He just gets in his way. But Gronk right now is saying, I'm open. I mean, they're 4 yards away, right? But he's telling them I'm open. So what do you get here? You get the simple throw, and then here's the wide receiver right here that comes up. And because this corner had to respect the receiver, he's no way he's going to make it. Mm-hmm. So Gronk, who seems like a super slow guy, he's just tall and long, wide open. I mean, it is a really, really nicely run play. And again, the plays that I pulled out, Norb, are plays that when I went and looked at them, tried to find plays that they had run similar, I just couldn't find any. Like, they really spent the last couple of weeks saying, hey, what does Kansas City do aggressively? And how can we combat their aggressiveness? So they obviously saw that down on the goal line that these linebackers must bite hard on run plays to one side or the other. This guy is locked in man-to-man. Again, that's pretty decent leverage. And he's catching up to a tight end. So you got to think, yeah, a linebacker might get caught up. But Norb, do you recall what I've said about the tight end position?
Yeah, it's the most underrated position on the field.
In all of sports, Norb.
In all of sports. Sorry, I didn't give him credit. All of sports.
Close. I'm going to give you an A. I'm going to give you an A, but not the A plus, because the tight end, I'm telling you, everybody, the tight end is the most underrated position in all of sports. And if you find a solid tight end that can make things happen, there's always going to be a mismatch. They're always the mismatch against the linebacker, because they're usually going to be a little bit quicker in terms because they know where they can go. And it's going to be a mismatch against a DB or a squat or a nickel or a dime or whoever else is playing out there because of their size. So that's why I love bootlegs. That's why I'm excited for the Seahawks offense. But because he gets this nice little piece here that takes care of that, it's done. Play over. So right off the bat, now they've come back down. They've got quick hitting score, make it take place. So I'm going to come back to you for a second here just as I get things set up. So there, Norb, is, that first play right there at Gronk, and I'm going to come right back to another Gronk play. And it is going to feel like New England, because I think that they made it a situation where it was, let's just take our best player and get it to our best player. And that, it took me a few years to listen to what my mentors had told me early on in my career, which is get the ball to your best player as much as you can, because I try to spread the wealth and other people do that. A big game, get it to your best player. Find a way to get it to your best player.
Yeah. Well, it's funny when you brought up that play, it actually reminded me of a play that we used to run back in the Little League, similar to the one that you saw in my little video that I posted from 1981. But is it possible for you to bring up that play real quick? I just want to show you, since it just flashed me back to a similar type of design that we used to do. I'll show you. So this is taking me back to 1979, I think. Maybe 80.
So we're going back to 1953.
This is the Triassic period of
in the prehistoric days.
So, prehistoric days.
You want this view right here?
Yeah. So go back to the set. All right. So back then, nobody did shotgun. Everybody was always under center, right? But we had the same misdirection. We called it
real quick on shotgun. Do you know in the Seahawks Super Bowl of the Matt Hasselbeck time, they were the only team that year that never once went to shotgun.
The entire year?
The entire season. They
never I didn't know that.
Went into shotgun.
Never went into shotgun.
Never went into shotgun. They always
so Hasselbeck was under center the whole time? I did not know that. That's crazy.
And so don't forget your thought, but this is a merging of what I'll be talking about in some other videos and stuff. That they were true West Coast offense, 2 running backs, tight end, 2 receivers. And then Holmgren, that's what made him such a great play caller. He merged with the times. Obviously the final season would have reflected on it. And then things went to single back and they went to shotgun, did some other things. But they were the only team that year that never once went out of the shotgun. So now back to 1979.
Okay. Yep, 1979. Before there was even a West Coast offense. I don't know what you call the offense. It was just kids offense back then. And basically, we were running what was called. This is my first year in football, so I was 89er. That means 8, 9-year-olds.
Yeah, you were running T or wing or something like that.
Well, it was a wing. I was a wing. I was the wing back, and they called it it was the Power I 26 counter. And for short, it was called the Norbert play, because this was for me, and I was going to score on it.
So were you in power eye, like fullback, tailback?
Oh,
and you were off to the right.
So I would, and it would be flipped.
Let me show them what he's talking about. So basically, if Brady was the fullback, quarterback would be under center. There's a fullback here. This guy wouldn't be there. He'd actually be the tailback. So you got three guys in a line. There's your eye, and power eye just means a third running back basically is back there, but it's kind of a wing because he's usually lined up between the guard and the tackle. He's back here. So you got fullback, tailback, and Norb right here.
Yeah, I was that fourth back, but I was lined up on the wing, kind of like where Gronk is.
Yeah.
So the same idea, though. So what would happen is the quarterback would hand off, fake the handoff to the fullback and who's up the lead, and then fake it to the tailback, and then I would come just like Gronk did behind them. He would just hand it off to me, and I would go blazing around the corner for a touchdown. Worked almost every single time. So it's kind of a similar design, except he's not in shotgun, and then he didn't hand it off; he threw it. But it's the same idea you just talked about. You get everybody to crash in the middle because you just run power. Back in our days, you hardly throw the ball, so it's run up the middle. So everybody's just like crashing.
You didn't have some 7-year-old with a golden arm back then?
Nope.
Or 10, you're probably 10, 8, 7, so I don't want to give away your age.
Oh, yeah, no, everybody knows how old I am. But no, I was about 8
It was wing
years
T
old.
country up here. So like 1995, like everybody ran. I didn't run, I swore I would never run the wing, and I never did. Never ran the wing T. Now, I did run the 4-horseman shift for my 2-point conversions because people didn't know what that was. Kansas City ran it last year for their one of their.
Is that what they do? A little spin thing, and they
spin? Yeah, that is the 4-horseman shift. And so I had some stud running backs, and I said, I think we can pull it off this week, and it was a big game.
Hey,
and we did it. So
while we're in the 70s, before we move back to the current non-Jurassic Triassic period, the other thing that was cool, though, I was a temporary Cowboys fan before I became a Seahawks fan because I didn't know better.
Whoa! Hold on.
But let me define what that means. Let me define what that means. I wasn't a actual Cowboy fan. I didn't even know what it was. We were watching the Super Bowl. My dad was just finally starting to get me into football, and the Super Bowl was on, and it was the Steelers versus the Cowboys. And I didn't know the difference. All I knew is that as I started to watch this team that was going to be playing the Super Bowl, the Dallas Cowboys, two things caught my eye. Number one, they had a quarterback by the name of Roger Staubach. And I was watching a show called Battlestar Galactica, who had a really cool character named Starbuck. Starbuck. So I was like, okay, I like that name. I'll go with him. But then the other part that was cool, they were the only team that was doing shotgun, and they do was this cool thing where they would be standing, and when on set or ready, they would do this upshift, and then they go to the 3-point stance. I thought that was the coolest thing because nobody else did it. So nobody was doing shotgun, and nobody was doing that shift flex position thing. So that was when I was watching the Cowboys. I didn't know about Seattle yet, and I just thought that was really cool. And I was rooting for them in the Super Bowl. So that was my tiny little stint of why I was a fan of the Cowboys when I first got introduced to football.
They're the originator of the Hail Mary that was run out of the shotgun. The famous Hail Mary play that went to one of this year's Hall of Fame inductees,
that's right.
Drew Pearson. Yep. He caught it. The play was the Hail Mary, and that was run out of shotgun.
Vikings, wasn't it? Weren't they the victims?
Yep. Freezing cold, and at the end of the play, you actually see a big rock get thrown. So you think the Seahawks fans are rabid, or the Philadelphia Eagles fans are rabid? Imagine catching a big touchdown, and a boulder gets thrown at you from the fans in the stands.
Crazy.
Beer cups are being thrown at you. Just
crazy.
They
had beer bottles too back then, probably too. So safety last.
You don't live
safety
in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati, right?
All right. So anyway, enough of that walk down prehistoric lane. Let's go on back to the Super Bowl 55 in the modern era. All right, what you got next? You got another Gronk play, right?
Well, now I got to pull them and get the next one up. So, again, this is so this is the second touchdown. Now, this goes back to what I just said at the very beginning in terms of the timing. I'm going to get myself pulled up here on the play. So this is the situation where, again, when we're talking about what makes these guys special, you're going to see right here, because I don't believe they actually showed this part in the game where you got to really see Gronk's route. And by this point, I mean, do you know, Norb? I don't know if you know some of. I mean, I'm always fascinated with those stats that I think do matter. Obviously, we all care about stats, but again, you know what I think about time of possession? I think that's overrated.
Oh, yeah. Overrated.
A lot of other stats, I think they're just so overrated because they can be ballooned, right? The stats that come to mind when they say a guy is the least pressured in a game, 4 times, right? Brady was only pressured 4 times. Well, as game goes on, your confidence starts growing. I mean, he's already 6'5" in the pocket. Now, it doesn't matter if you're short. So let me preface with that. So I'm not saying because Russell's 5'10" or 11 that he's too short. But when you're 6'5", that does make a difference. And when you're not getting pressured, that's awesome. Conversely, Mahomes was pressured the most in Super Bowl history. So those are stats that do come into play. So you're going to really see that become evident here where, a quarterback who's comfortable, it's now, we're moving into the second quarter, the time that he gets. So let's just watch the play. as we see it going. Obviously, you're going to see Gronk do his thing, but he got so much time. Gronk goes to the back corner, comes out of it, done.
I counted about 5 seconds. I counted about 5 seconds of him just standing there.
Yes, but where did it start? How many times did you see Brady after the first drive just do a straight drop back? Rarely, ever. Every single time on the big plays, he was buying time by doing play action. And man, he really gives it the old Boomer Esiason. And again, I'm kind of one of those that likes to do the throwback. So if you don't know who Boomer Esiason is, go look at Boomer Esiason. I think he's the best bootleg play action pass quarterback in history. People love Peyton Manning, how he does it. Boomer Esiason used to stick that ball almost in the player's belly with one hand and then pull it back out the last second. Well, Brady does a phenomenal job. And again, we have the luxury of being, 10,000 feet in the air here to see this. Very hard for players to recognize that. So right off the bat, again, you're getting guys out of angles, and Gronk, now he's got a massive mismatch, again, against a DB type who you think, gosh, DB type should be able to stay with him. But first off, just watch Brady. So try not to watch Gronk. Let's just focus on Brady for a second. Just forget that he's Tom Brady and just look at the sheer beauty of the guy, how he plays the game. I mean, he is a clinician for a reason. And I don't even care how old he is. He's in great shape. But see how his arms way out there? He makes it look like it. Big, huge, that we call those shark arms. So there's a difference between a guy who has shark arms on the play action, and then there's running backs, and we've seen it with the Seahawks sometimes, who have minnow arms. Shark and minnow. Well, the shark, big arm, that's going to be a selling point too. If your arms are too tight, linebackers go, oh, he's not getting the ball. So you got a great mesh point here, where mesh point being where two things are going to come into contact, whether it's players or whether it's a ball. So the mesh point here is this spot. Now he pulls it back in. These linebackers are still moving forward. So now what you've done is you've created a triangle of space, which can be good and bad. You'll see where it's great in one circumstance, but here it's awful for Kansas City because they've got a huge triangle pocket here if this area was to be threatened. But look at this with Brady. Jeez Louise, we talk about the V in our.
It's not even a V; it's a straight line.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how much these guys are just absolutely stealth at the line of scrimmage and not giving up ground. It's almost like they were saying, "Hey, even on pass pro, we're not going to retreat. We're not going to give up yardage. We're just going to." I mean, these guys, look at the back is bowed, great, and look at the one-on-one out here. I mean, he's just staying with them. Brady's just got all day, but here's the beauty of it from this point on. I couldn't believe when I saw this for the first time late last night watching this. When this comes out, watch Gronk. Brady's not even looking at him. Mm-hmm. So again, we talk about Russell Wilson, straight, right, left, 1, 2, 3, and then your check down. Well, Tom does it usually the reverse. He looks kind of for check downs, then intermediate, then the deep, which I think is great. That's the philosophy that I always carried with our quarterbacks. Now, again, younger kids, I didn't want them overthrown it 95% of the time.
Right.
Just watch Gronk at the end of this route. So we know that Brady's got about 1 to 2 more seconds. But when he looks to the right, Gronk already knows what he needs to do, and Brady knows where he needs to be. Just focus on Gronk. Right shoulder, boom, I'm going to turn, hard plant left. So we call that a quick turn. Now, the most of the time when you see a quick turn, Norb, is a DB. DBs are taught to do this move. If the DB was on this side and a receiver does a post corner underneath him or something where the receiver's on this side, the DB, instead of trying to turn invertedly, Top Gun 2 reference there, he will quick turn. Well, watch Gronk. How quickly, he doesn't do a slow rounded thing. He gets out here and then immediately plants, hard cuts, and that ball is in the air. Ball's gone right now. The ball is already in the air, Norton.
Yeah.
And he's just done his quick turn, and the ball's gonna be caught over here somewhere. Boom,
was
right
that there. So? Was the original route a fade, or did the fade route become this quick turn? In your opinion,
no, the original route was a corner.
Okay.
The original route was where they're running some mirrors here to kind of clear it out, and then you'll see what they're trying to get here is, which they picked apart in the second half. Because again, you're running things early in the game to try to establish something later in the game. The first half, a lot of their plays were to the outside. Then what did they pick apart in the second half? I almost tried to call you on the Discord when I saw the Texas route being run 3 consecutive plays because they're getting these guys down the middle. And one of the plays I'll show you later, but you can see they're trying to get a guy down the pipe here in this the triangle. Every football's all about these little triangle areas, and a running back just to see what's happening. So you got these clear outs in the corner. So again, he's looking underneath first. Doesn't like it. Gronk's not even close to open right now. Like if I'm looking at this, I'm saying, why are you throwing this ball? Just throw it to your check down. But there's a reason when the guy has 7 Super Bowls. And he doesn't know the timing of these guys. He knows the timing of his superstar. And what does he do at the end there, Norb? Let me show you from the end zone. Looking, boom, and circle of opportunity right there on the catch. So, man, that is just it's special. I mean, you can hate on him all you want, and again, deflated footballs or not, that a guy is terrific when he does that, and he can make that throw and he can do those things. I really don't care so much about what people want to put on him from the past. If we're just looking at just this game and why they were able to just handle him, again, 2 weeks for Tommy. He knows what he's doing, and him and Gronk sit down there in South Beach hanging out, and I don't think Gronk works out. He just shows up. His football IQ is off the charts. As goofball as he is, and as much as he puts a dent in the Super Bowl trophy, treating it like a baseball bat at a game, this is unbelievable what they're able to do.
Well, what I observed from that play is it's a combination of he had all that time, so he can wait for those routes to develop to that next level, right? Because let's say he only had 3 seconds, and at that point when Gronk's in the corner, he's got to make a decision. He's not throwing that ball to Gronk. There's not enough time for him to make that turn. So he had great protection, and B, I think just knowing, again, there's that familiarity that he knows that Gronk's not just going to stop and quit, but he's going to make that turn and see it before it happens. And that's, again, like you said, that just comes from years. Again, the record number of hookups these guys have had in postseason and Super Bowls is without compare. So it's it's,
do you know,
like him or not, it's hard to not admire the fact that what they do is really amazing. And
So
I got to
think
shout out
about
real quick.
this.
Alina Dahl in the super chat says, "OMG, me too, Norb. I always got the uniforms mixed up between Dallas and the Hawks. By the way, Coach, game was a big yawn." She says, "Hawks games were better." Well, our blood pressure definitely was more intensified during our games. So I guess when you say it's a yawn, we had nothing really making our hearts go crazy. But
I think so. And Elena, you're one of my favorite people on the planet that I've never met, to be honest with you. I agree that, back in the day, it was very confusing, except when we would go play Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. And when they beat us 51-7, and it was like, did we show up? Did we get off the bus to get ready for the game? Then it was no confusion. You knew who the Dallas Cowboys were and who the Seahawks were. But yeah, for me, I always can find a way to make a game super exciting because I can look for games within the game. So that's, yes, of course, it seems like it's a yawner or what have you. But to me, there's so many neat storylines. And in fact, one of the plays I'm going to show you is near the very end of the game because I was just looking for something to see if it was really what I was seeing throughout I'd seen it a couple of times and then I saw it again. I'm like, holy cow, like this is just a massive domination in every phase of the game. So again, that's the lucky side of having some coaching mentors through the course of my life that taught me how to see the game and how to, not watch the quarterback and just watch the center at the snap and try to quickly, guess what's going on. With games I play with my buddies all the time, when even in the fourth quarter, we have games like this, we'll play a little game of can you guess what the play is in a fraction of a second? I'll pause it and then they got to guess it. And if they don't, I send them packing, go home. I'm kidding. But it's fun. So but I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it could be. There's definitely times where it gets boring, and nothing's more exciting than Seahawks football, except when they're not playing. But when we finish, I've got some good news for you about the Seahawks. Some really good news.
All right.
Nobody knows about.
Okay. All right. So
Nobody's talked about.
No, it's talked about. All right. So Lena Dahl says, "Here's a game within a game. Take a shot for every bad call by the refs. LOL." Well,
I wasn't
that's a
going to
whole
talk
other
about the
story.
way people enjoy the game, but I definitely could give you some seriously fun ways to enjoy the game of football when the game gets out of hand, as well as a lot of people in certain cities that light up dramatically that still had massive interest in this game as it went on, either rooting for teams to score or rooting for some defense at the end of the game. So, but we don't talk about that type of stuff on Norb's Clean Family program here.
Oh yeah. Well, let's.
You want that crazy stuff? Watch him play Madden.
Oh man, yeah. I lose my mind sometimes. We should. I don't want to go too far without. We do gotta acknowledge. I don't think I've spent enough time acknowledging. But Russell Wilson, he got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, and that's a great honor. I mean, when you put everything aside from what you like or don't like what he's doing, and what, you know, whether he had interceptions, held on the ball too long, look at what he's done off the field. And he's been so consistent with his visits to Children's Hospital every Tuesday, even before anybody knew who he was. And he's been doing it so consistently ever since, and only just growing on top of that. So Russell Wilson winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, I think it can't be stated how fantastic of an honor that is. So congratulations to Russell Wilson for getting that honor over the weekend. I think that's really, really cool. Speaks to his character.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's definitely special. I mean, I remember the first, just to stay on it real quick, just to give a thought on that. I remember in the first couple of years, because Sherman was here, Coach Smith, my mentor, he would talk about this young player. Even the first couple of weeks when he came out for the OTAs before they played, and he had shared a story about, you know, Russ, the ball being thrown, and, you know, Russ is like talking to the football, but he's like, and coach is like, what's he saying? And they go, well, I'm telling the football where to go. Like he just knew, like, this kid is going to be special, but no one knew that he was going to be this special. And what I really loved about him, and of course, eventually social media is going to catch up with you and all those things, but those first couple of years, Norb, no one knew he was going to Children's. You know, they ran a story on it here and there. But the fact that your only day off is Tuesday during the NFL season, he's a rookie in a new city, and what does he do on his day off while he's trying to lead a team that's a power, you know, that's on the rise? He goes and spends it at Children's Hospital. So as much as I'll get on him for certain things he does now, and, you know, we all change from time to, you know, as time goes on, you know, he electrified the city just by who he was as a person. I think he was the perfect person that we needed at the right time. You know, to do things. So, you know, yes, he throws an interception in a Super Bowl, or he does something that gets us upset, or what have you, but you can't fault the character of the guy, or that you want your kids to be, you know, like the guy and how he grows up. And to me, when he won the award, I said a few weeks ago that my favorite defensive player of all time, probably my favorite player of all time, period, was Lawrence Taylor on the field. Walter Payton, I mean, it's not even close. You know, yes, I've got our locals, Largent and Zorn, those guys, but Walter Payton growing up, man, everybody wanted to be him out playing football, you know, out in the neighborhood, or where everybody wanted to be 34, right? So yeah, really cool that he won that. And I think I heard your dad talking. Was it local? Like, no, like he won it for the entire NFL. Like, that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
So huge congratulations. That's a really cool honor, and he could have earned it a long time ago, for that matter. But the fact that he finally got it this year, that's pretty awesome. So, although
I got to say, and I just lost his name, the Washington quarterback that played for Alex Smith.
The comeback player of the year.
Some crazy stories. Go watch anything you can if you don't know anything about the Alex Smith story. His comeback and his family and his speech afterwards. The only difference between him and Russ, and I'm certainly not putting Russ down on this, but to listen to Alex Smith talk about his family, and it was just neat and authentic and genuine. You know, Russell had to kind of give more of a, kind of an Oscar award-winning speech, which makes sense for that type of thing. But Alex Smith, I didn't care for him as much beforehand, and now I've become a quick fan of his as well. So just neat when you see that, again, in the times we're in right now. And I'm a guy that's going to bleed from my heart, and that's just the way I am. I love those type of stories. You know, I love that Russ does visit those guys. You know, I got to share this, man. I got to share it. One time I went to a practice, and this is I took my wife and I went down there, and we were very, very lucky or blessed, as you would say, is to go and have an opportunity to go to a private practice, right? Who gets to do that? And so we never looked at that like we were more than anything else, other than we had a nice invite by Sherman to come down and do that. And we're in there, and the practice comes to an end, and there's no cameras, nothing else. And all of a sudden, all the players go in the locker room, and Pete Carroll comes over, and there's this young boy down there that's got, bandages on and limping and everything else. And Pete spends about, 10 minutes with the kid. Pete goes inside, and I'm out there talking to Coach Smith, and we're visiting with him. And then out comes Richard Sherman. And I know I shared this a little while back, but Richard Sherman starts talking and playing with the kid. He goes back, and this is like this is the Super Bowl year. Sherman goes back in. Russell Wilson comes back out with this kid, and they go out on that turf in the indoor facility. I'm not kidding, for probably 30 minutes. It's just Russell and this kid playing catch. There's no cameras. There's no news media, nothing. And that's when I knew that Pete Carroll was running an organization that we all had to get behind. And then according to Coach Smith, he's like, yeah, Coach Carroll every week will tell these guys right off the bat, like, you represent this city, you're going to do right by this city, you get paid a lot of money, give back. So anytime we have kids that come, you will sign autographs, you will do this. And I was like, who does that, right? but just to see that it was our guys, right? You kind of feel like we're a part of that. I think that's why you felt the way you felt when you created that video the other night. That was just so phenomenal, because people like to say that they're close to their teams or everything else. There's something magical and special here that is different. I think it's just different.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool that you got that little peek behind the curtain. And anytime they do something and the cameras aren't rolling, they're doing it not because the cameras are there, but they're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. You gotta respect that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the right thing to do on this next play, though, would have been Kansas City playing some defense still.
Okay, let's get into it.
So we can do it. And did you want to do calls tonight? Because I know we're doing this a day earlier, so that's why Norb and I are a little off kilter. Usually we do this on Tuesdays if you're new to the show. So we quickly wanted to get this out because we knew people would be talking about it, a hot topic. So let me know if this is the third of 8 plays coming up.
Well, I guess whenever you feel like is a good breaking point. I mean, we've only done 2 plays. Let's do a couple more in here, and then we'll do the.
And I don't get to see the super chat, so if anybody's asking questions, Norb, or if you see anything, please let me know. So, okay, so we're going to go to the play right before the half. Now, I got to talk about something here because it's come up quite a bit in a group calls on today with a handful of coaches that we connect once a month, and obviously we're going to connect with the Super Bowl. The other 4 guys were just ripping Andy Reid. I mean, just ripping him for calling the timeouts early on. Well, if those timeouts work for you because you had 3 left and Brady doesn't, get the first down, they punt. Now you get the score. Now you're up 10-7. You're a genius.
Oh, Andy Reid. I had no problem. I thought it made sense at the time to call those timeouts at the end. You're talking about the end of the second half, right? That eventually
at the end of the second half, they got 3 timeouts left, and they've handed the football. They've run the ball, so you're thinking, okay, they're just going to run it out. Now, again, you don't know that Tom Terrific's going to have this magical game at that point. It's only 7-3, and Andy Reid's been aggressive all year long. I mean, just a week or so, 2 weeks prior, 4th down, let's throw a pass into the flat with a backup quarterback, right? So to me, I love the aggressive, chance to let's get the ball back. It's a Super Bowl. Like, we're playing to win, and that's what I wanted to see. Teams playing to win. So my argument was, if I'm in that situation, I'm calling the 3 timeouts. But then what happened? You get the pass interference and everybody's calling it. But
it's crazy that they had a similar thing against the Green Bay Packers. Against the Packers, they just scored the touchdown deep left. And against them, they ran the same type of play and they got a pass interference, which eventually led to this. Real quick, Alina, one more time in the Super Chat says, Coach, do you find it funny how Mahomes got MVP votes, but Russell did not, even though Russ has more touchdowns in the 2 Super Bowls he played? We'll have to address that when we talk. I think I don't know if it's this year or even last year. We know Russell's never gotten a single
Russell's
one.
Never received a vote I think I'm correct on this. He's never received one MVP
never received
vote.
A single one. Yes. So
and again, I go back to those I've said it many, many times. In the Super Bowl years, he definitely wasn't the best quarterback in the league. And even in those 2 Super Bowls, they weren't his best games, so it wasn't even close, right? And then the last 3 years, he's flat out the MVP if you ended at game 8. He is the MVP of the league. And then at the end of the season, you're hoping he's the man of the year. You're hoping he wins that award. Right. He's not getting the other award. Or as you say, which I love, like win go for the MVP of the big game.
Super Bowl MVP. That's the ultimate one.
He still has, I don't want to say he's got years because you never know, but he's got all the caliber, and I think he's got his best shot coming up this year, and I'm going to explain why.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about this play.
Yeah, so this is again down at the 1 yard line. Now remember, just earlier that there have been some good stops, there've been some good stuff. So, and Tony Romo said it on here, the second best color analyst in the game next to your dad. He had said, you have 8 seconds left. And I knew that this is what's going to happen. You have 8 seconds left. You have no timeouts. You have to throw the ball here.
Yep.
Oh, hold on, Norb. I just trapped you now. Now I got to come back to you. 1 yard line with 8 seconds left. They've been running the ball well. And you just agreed with me that they should throw the football based on situation. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, but I hope we're not comparing that.
It's a totally different scenario.
I
man.
hope
I'm
we're not
joking with
comparing
you.
that to another situation because that was totally different. But
Exactly, I know,
there are
I know.
times when you should run the ball at the 1 yard line, and there are times when you
You're darn
shouldn't.
right.
This
Yeah,
is a
and
time where you have to, because if you don't make it, you will end up with nothing. So
That's the
you have
difference.
to. That's the difference.
That's why you were the starter on that 1979 team, because you had that. That you have to do it here. You didn't in that situation. You could run it because you had the timeout left, and you could do other things. So. But with 8 seconds, no timeout, you have to throw the ball. And then this jumbo set here where you got multiple tight ends, right? So you got, here's your center, guard, tackle, and a receiver. But over on this side, you got guard, tackle, tight end, even though it's a receiver type. I mean, you got 3 guys over here, but this is definitely looking like loaded run coming this way. The only thing that can beat you are 3 things, really, for the most part. A deep fade, which most teams really aren't running as much anymore, kind of the one step, throw it to the corner. Teams are realizing with receivers elevating their game so much with the quick get-offs and moves they can do, that quick slants or quick outs or pivots and those things are much better. Or, again, so that out route, the fade or the slant or something coming inside, or one of these 3 guys doing something where they set it up and then go to the flat. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, everybody's going to say, well, they threw that tackle eligible play. Okay, that's the one-off that somebody could do every once in a while. So here you go. Here's the play itself. Again, everybody saw it, but let me show you how it happens and what is just unbelievable in the scheme. There's a few things that I can honestly say I've never seen in a Super Bowl before, let alone have seen much in regular season games or playoffs. So first off, let's just focus on the receiver and not who he is as a person. So you can blow up the super chat with who he is, but let's just focus on him, the route, the receiver of the game. Watch the route he runs as a 1 yard line route, because the confidence level in the team right now is we have time to protect Tom to run this type of a route. It's not a one-step slant. It's there, it's out, it's pivot, it's reverse, it's go. That is a boatload of moves to run at the 1 yard line, because you have so much faith in your offensive line right now. I was thinking right here, if they're going to throw it, it's just a slant. He's going to do hippity up slant. The corner right now is playing him outside shade. I mean, he's playing him hard outside shade. He's saying, look, I'm not going to let you run the fade. I'm going to force you into the middle. And when Tom just steps up 1 step and goes to throw it to you, it's going to be snot bubble time. Like, we're going to light you up. But instead, because of the fact that you get a little play fake there, this linebacker who did start to jump to the slant, he resets. So he actually makes the right break on the outset. Like, hey, there's not enough guys over here really to run a running play this way. So I'm going to start running there for the run, and I'll be in a great position for the slant. But as soon as the play fake goes a little the other direction, it's enough to do this. And here's the best pass scheme I've ever seen in all my life watching Super Bowls. And I've watched all the way back to probably 1980 was the first one I watched, Oakland, Philadelphia. So here's what we have. I don't recall ever seeing a half and half. And what I mean by half and half, this is actually a better angle to me than showing it from the end zone. Watch the left half of the line, Norb. Watch this left half of the line. Okay, the left half of the line, as the play starts to go, they're going to give 1 look over here. So the left side of the line, drive block, drive block, drive block. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now let's watch the right side of the line. The other side just went drive block, drive block, drive block. The right side of the line, pass pro, pass pro. So notice what you have here. Remember what I said about the triangles. You're trying to create triangles. Linebacker in space, again, this is one of those, what is he doing? Right? We have those times where we look at our defensive guys and say, okay, you're lost in space. What is he doing? He's either going to come hard on the blitz, or he should be looking for this receiver. You have a humongous triangle, but it's by play design. This is a phenomenal play design because you've got drive blocking here on your jumbo package side. So you've got basically 8 dudes from Kansas City over here. Look at this linebacker. He's now looking to see who is coming open because it's a pass, failing to realize his responsibilities over here. Why? Because Gronk already has 2 touchdowns on you. Right. So you're told, look for Gronk. Mm-hmm. So now he's turning, looking for Gronk. Tom is literally throwing the ball, and that linebacker can see that he's throwing the ball. But look where this linebacker's
he's looking behind him.
Look, he's looking at Tom. Yeah, he looked back. Yeah. Now he looked forward. Now Tom's throwing, and he's still learning to look for Gronk.
Yeah,
like, hey, maybe Gronk's going to get to this ball. And at 6'5", that's a downward throw. I mean, it's one of the best play designs I've ever seen at the 1 yard line, from, O-line to protection to everything else. But what was crazy, and I'm going to play at regular speed, Norb, the entire second half, I saw linebacker after linebacker after linebacker turning and actually turning away from the play. Now, we teach that at the high school level all the time. Outside linebackers. Outside linebackers will teach them, hey, if you're dropping into your zone, turn and take a quick peek to see if a slant is coming at you. So you can adjust your angle to take that slant on. Or as a Texas route coming out, and you can adjust these guys are literally turning their back to the quarterback. Haven't seen it. I mean, this right here is just like, and it happened the whole second half. The whole second half it happened, and you'll see it in a play that's coming up.
Well, what's interesting, Coach, about this play is, and this is only fresh in my memory because I just edited my documentary and had to rewatch Super Bowl 49 highlights. But the play that put the Patriots on top 28-24 over Seattle was pretty much that same exact type of route, at least from the receiver end. I don't know about the rest of it. Julian Edelman ran the reverse pivot route. Mm-hmm. On the left side, though.
Yep. And then they ran the quick hitting, just step up and throw it. It's just, they had scored 2 touchdowns. They ran the reverse pivot on us, and then they ran where he just came down the line of scrimmage, caught it, and ran up the field. I mean, it's just like, it's great, but you have to have the right offensive scheme, and you have to have confidence at that point. The confidence is sky high, and the other piece I'll talk about when I come back to you, so I'll hold it for a second. Again, the pass pro here is great, just to watch it real quickly. And we talk about passing lanes. So where the outside linebacker the outside linebacker may have looked like he was in the passing lane. I mean, again, Tom, terrific here. He's looking at it the whole time. I mean, no idea what this linebacker is even thinking. That he's just so incredibly lost. He went right, then he went left. Now he's back right again. And I mean, look, the lane is just so wide open for Tom to make that throw. This guy's not even close to where the ball is going. He's 3 yards away from it. It's outside. Can't bat it. I mean, it is unbelievable to have this much space. This triangle right here is a crazy amount of space in the end zone. And now it's like, I know you play Madden. I was a Tecmo Bowl guy. So, even though I don't play that Madden stuff, I'll start getting into that so I can play sometime. But Tecmo Bowl was the game. And the key to the game was, you couldn't be Bo Jackson. You couldn't be somebody else. But you wanted to kick off in the second half so that you could score right before halftime, get the ball back, score again. That's 14-point swing, game over, right? So you take that same thing to the game of football, which is true. Teams choose to be on defense, so they get the ball in the second half. But think of the momentum swing that took place there in that final minute or so, where it's, you have a chance to keep the game close. The timeouts don't work for you. Pass interference, then you're down to the 1 yard slant, touchdown, and then they come out, touchdown, and it's just like the snowball effect was taking place.
Yeah, no, it was a major momentum swing, and there was a lot of momentum swings. I commented to my dad on the second quarter. I said, "Wow, this second quarter has been just a horrible quarter for Kansas City on so many levels, defensively, penalties, giving up plays. I mean, it really did them in, because if they could have had a little bit different, closer second quarter, they might have gone to that half with a little more competitive situation, but they got so far down because of so many shooting themselves in the foot situations. It's unbelievable." Yeah,
and here's where the philosophy of the game, again, where I look for those little things that take place. And I mentioned this, when DJ Squabble was really hitting hard on, Russ was having something, internally was wrong. Like just didn't seem right. And I remember seeing one play that I did on the coach's corner where right after the play, you could see Russ turn and look at the ref and go palms up. And my least favorite thing in the world is a player that goes palms up, because it either means I don't know or what's happening. It's a question, right? This is a question. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes do this, ever. I've never seen him do this. I counted 7 times when I went back through and watched the plays as one of my 20 things I was looking for, because I'd seen him do it in the game last night. I saw him do it once. I was like, that is odd. I don't recall him like turning to the official like, what? Oh, I got hit in the head. Or like he was begging for something because he couldn't get the spark going. And you saw it multiple times. The one that was really evident was the guy came and just slapped him on the helmet. And of course you could see it in the replay. But Mahomes was just like, what's going on? I saw it early in the first quarter. when it happened. And I was like, man, like he's already clamoring for something extra. Like that doesn't seem like a competitive guy. Norb doesn't look for those little, he's not whining to the officials in the first quarter. He'll talk to him at this, between the quarter. He'll talk to him at the end of a drive. He'll do something else. Man, not that. He's not going to do that. Conversely, the AARP quarterback, he's getting in the grill of the DB who's talking trash down 14, 21, whatever, saying, hey, I might be the old man, but I'm here to compete and play and get after it, right? So I just thought it was very interesting with Mahomes early on. Like everything just seems wrong right now. Everything seemed wrong.
Well, it seemed like when it came to the Honey Badger, that second quarter, it just got into his head. I mean, he lost his composure. He was so distracted, and you could see it even in the middle of the play later in the, I think it was the third, fourth quarter.
It's where right here. You're going to look at it right here.
And he's already the place to go. He's already going. Who had him? What's going on? So before you pull that up, I got to recognize Ban Ned in the super chat. Thank you, Ban Ned. You gave me some huge support super chats the other night during my
you did. That was awesome.
My show. Thank you. That was like a record super chat. He says, off topic, halftime show opinion, yay or nay? We'll have to get people should chime in on there. We'll talk about that here when we get a little bit. Maybe at our halftime, we'll talk a little bit about the halftime show. But let's get to the calls and we'll talk about that. So let's go to the plays, the one you just alluded to. So here we go.
Okay, and every game there's always one play that I'm going to watch probably roughly 30 to 40 times just because I just love it so much. Now that play on the goal line, that was a close second place. This play, I just kept watching over and over and over and over because I couldn't rewatch it last night, with people around everything else. I was just itching to see this play when it came out in the All-22 because I was just like, this was the game, like game over right here. So here's what we have. This is in the third quarter. It's a play that's going to happen now. This is where, again, there's a little bit of the conspiracy piece of, Gronk definitely jumps. He jumps a little bit before the snap. So could you have a legal procedure? Yeah, but it's kind of like you could call holding on every play as well. So I just want to get that out of the way before people start saying, but he jumped a little bit. It's still, somebody has to stop him from catching the ball, right? The jumping doesn't do it. So situation midway through the third quarter, they've been running the ball well. And now what's going to happen is we're going to watch the play as it develops. Now, remember what I talked about earlier, how they were running all those corner routes and things to the sideline so that they could open up the middle? Here's the perfect example. I'm going to play it again, regular speed. Again, early on when they were in these 2x2 sets or, two receivers on this side, two receivers on this side, or if we want to start educating ourselves, even though I wasn't doing it earlier in the season, 11 personnel, those numbers simply are this. The first number is how many running backs there are. The second number is how many tight ends there are. Those numbers need to add up to 5. Because the rest are wide receivers. So if you've ever wondered what is 11 and 12 and those personnel, a lot of people think, it must be one receiver on 1 and 2. No, it has nothing to do with the wide receivers. It's the first number is how many running backs, the second number is how many tight ends, and then
the receivers
has to add up to 5. So you're an 11 personnel, tight end, and Gronk. Anytime he's in this spot, I'm thinking he's going to the middle of the field. They're playing this high cover 2 look back here, and now as the play gets developed, you'll see again. Wide open down the middle of the field. So now let's look at a couple things of why does this happen. First, I got to go back to a concept or an idea that we just saw earlier, and that's this. What are guys doing turning their backs to Tom Terrific? So I just want you to watch right here as the play unfolds. Okay, now they're playing, again, this kind of triangle, a little bit of a triangle defense. The difference between them and what Tampa Bay was doing. Tampa Bay was playing deeper. They were playing more with 3, cover 3 or 3 guys deep on it. And they were playing the way the game is taught in early Little League. Keep the game in front of you. Keep the game in front of you. So now they're trying to keep the game in front of it, but then now they're saying, hey, we got to start covering this outside stuff. So why are they not paying attention to Gronk? I have no idea. But you can see here, there's a reason why Honey Badger is going to get a little upset. And it's one like he's going to get mad at everybody else, even though he's the guy. It's his fault, But this guy up here, okay, in this position, let's get us back here. Watch right here as he's playing. You're going to see him just start to move. I mean, he's not even looking. He's peeking. The ball's been thrown, and he's still. Now, there's a quick turn. When I talk about a quick turn, that's what a quick turn is. But you can see here again, just regular speed. He's looking outside, and now he has to quick turn. Well, even at that, it's too late.
Well, so does Tyrann Mathieu think that guy who just did the quick turn, that he's supposed to get the middle? Is that the...
So this is your typical, and I've coached many of these type of players where, gosh, you love having them on your team because they're special. I mean, he's a special talent.
Right.
But he's so caught up in so many things that when he starts losing, he doesn't know how to deal with it. So he's going to start blaming everybody else, pointing the finger, getting in guys' face. We used to say all the time, the best way to get a trash talker out of the game is get him trash talking with his teammates. Like literally, get him trash talking with his teammates. Guy's going to be done. And like you said, you could see it happening early in the game. But here's what Gronk does. It's great. Veteran, Hall of Famer. Going to happen. He comes out and because play action's been working. We're getting so much play action. Gronk comes out right at this backer to make sure that linebacker cannot have his eyes in the backfield for just a fraction of a second. Okay, well,
yeah, hits
what I think the Honey Badger's getting upset at is because he stuffed him. Now Honey Badger's thinking, okay, maybe this guy was going to take Gronk and stay with him. Now we don't know what the coverage was. We don't know if that linebacker was responsible for that. If they were in some sort of a position where, and defensive players will talk number 1, number 2, number 3 from the outside in. So this receiver is number 1. This eligible receiver is number 2. And then there's no other eligible receiver. Number 1, number 2, number 3. So he may be thinking, corner's got number 1. This linebacker's on the line, but this linebacker's not. So you've got number 2, and I'll just kind of clean up the mess like a free safety would back here. Again, that's if they were in a hardcore man-to-man. Or this guy maybe made the mistake, and I'm going to come up. I saw a run. Okay, now it's not run. I'm going to leave because it looks like my guy in front of me was taking Gronk. And now is when he's like, hey, I thought you were going to stay with him. But in all honesty, Norb, I would say, no, I think that's a Hall of Fame guy. If you, even in the free safety position, you got to just drop back as hard as you can and play a half of the field. If he just drops straight back, he at least stays in a level position instead of going off to the right. So you got this guy turning away from the play. You got this guy turning here. Linebackers stuffed him, and Gronk's made it look like it, and it's all placated by a great play action. And Norb, look at our V.
Yep.
It's perfect. Again, this is a clinic. It's an absolute clinic. And if it's not Brady and Gronk, most quarterbacks are throwing the out route to the other stud, right? Wide open out route out here that he could get. But instead, the middle of the field is just so dang open because of the way that they do it. So again, when I looked at this play, this to me was game over. This sealed it for me, game over. And the other piece that I'm going to show you from the end zone, which is why I didn't bring it up here, is the idea of when you're looking and scheming plays and trying to say, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I didn't have it on this one. You'll see it from here. You're going to see a guard pull on this play.
Oh yeah, right there.
Again, when this type of thing happens, I'm sorry, your center. So when the center pulls, watch what it does. It's an influence. Because of the way that Kansas City's playing and because they're playing aggressive, this pull for just a second makes every linebacker think run. Because 90% of the time, if a guy pulls, it's going to be a run because the guards and the centers the linemen take you where it is. So linebackers are taught mirror that interior 3, mirror those guards. So that pulls this linebacker away and it creates the space behind him. So again, when we're talking about how do guys get so wide open, Gronk, boom, gets the little stuff here. They've been running the out routes, so that occupies this here. The play action, that's going to get this linebacker to come up to it, but the fact that this center pulls, and he can see out of the corner of the eye of the pull, it draws him in there. And so what do you get? You get an incredibly huge, it's not even just a triangle.
It's a quadrilateral.
Pick a shape.
It's a rhombus. There's a rhombus right there.
No, there is a rhombus. It's just amazing how much space they were able to create. And then this is what you get. As Coach Tarbox did, my old mentor used to say, palms up quickly gets you to the sidelines, right? Palms up, you're done.
The other
palms up in a game. Yeah.
The other thing too. Yeah, right. Yeah. The other thing too in that play that you don't get to see by only looking at one piece at a time is play action, which sets up all these things that that was put in motion. It's all predicated on the fact that these guys are running the ball so well. So when the run threat is there, those linebackers, everybody has to respect it. So every little shift that makes it believe it's a run, they are going, I got to stop this because they're gashing us 5 yards at a time, right? So when that's working, everything else is one step closer. And then what I loved about that, too, is Gronk he didn't just run the route, but when he engaged that linebacker, to me, that just to me would make me think, oh, it's a run. He's hitting me.
Well, of course.
He's not going out for a pass. So he's got to be running a play there. And as soon as he releases, it's not a run. Surprise. And the ball's coming out. So, so many
most of the time you
things
see that
working
at the line of scrimmage, because the question would come up in terms of, well, how can he do that down the field? Because he's technically a lineman or a receiver. He's 5 yards down the field. Because when he runs right into him, he can then engage like he's getting off of him. But Gronk is so good at getting into the guy that it's an easy argument that, hey, look, I'm running my route. I ran straight down the field. Guy's in my way. I have to engage in him to get him away. And like you said, linebackers seeing it like, well, the guy's coming right at me. It's got to be a...
Oh, there's an internet lock up there. Hopefully it's temporary. There you go.
I mean, it throws off the message. So that comes from film study. You have to, as goofy as the guy is, either he's watching a ton of film or Brady's watching so much film that he's telling Gronk, hey, here's the secrets to success of what you need to do. And you brought up the running game, that we're going to actually see a running play as the play that followed this one. As the play coming out, but we can take some calls if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. And for some reason, we had a little glitch there. You're like in freeze frame mode right now, Coach. Something happened where you froze.
You're the more talented.
You're still frozen right now, Coach. Can you still hear me, Coach? Uh-oh. I think we're having some internet issues. Coach, are you there? Coach? Uh-oh. We seem to have lost some kind of connection with the coach. Oh, there he goes. All right. Well, this might be a good time to get the questions in here. So let me just go back to me here real quick. So if you guys want to ask the coach a question, I've got my little screen going on in here. If you guys want to ask the coach a question, this is a perfect time to jump into the Discord. The link is at the top of the chat. It's pinned up there. You can also find it down below. You can type it in manually, or you can also click on it in the description. But that will get you into the Discord, and then jump into the stream game day party section, and I'll be able to pull some calls from over there. Hey, there's Coach is back. Coach, you're there again? Coach? Oh, you were there, but then... Oh, there you go. Hey, Coach, can you hear me? Coach? Hello, Coach. Nope, still having issues. All right. Well, as we're working to get the coach back on, we'll continue to work on that. Kind of tough to have questions for the coach if the coach can't answer and hear you guys. So hang on tight. Actually, I can at least get you in there. Let me bring Rain in. Or actually, this "Don't Pick Me Today" Norb is what he calls himself. He looks like a Giants guy. All right. Well, let's go to Rain. Hold on a second there. Rain, are you there? Oh, try this again. I can't unmute you. Rain, what's going on? Why can't I unmute Rain? This is strange. He's permanently muted. That's odd. All right, how about over here? Oh, I can't get anybody unmuted. We're getting all kinds of bugs in the bait store today. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I just heard somebody. Oh, there's Rain. Hey, Rain.
Yeah, you're lagging for me.
Is it lagging? Is that what you're saying? Oh, wow. We're having all kinds of all kinds of weird glitches going on here. Anybody? Rain, you there? Wow. Okay. All right. I might have to reset the Discord here because wow, just things are just breaking up. Let me try to reset the Discord. I just lost everybody. All right, let's go Coach back on here. Let's start one thing at a time. Let's get the coach in because that's the most important thing. Coach Marsh, you still there? Coach Marsh? Wow. We just suddenly, I can hear something over there, Coach, but wow, what is going on? Coach Marsh in the house? Hello? No? Coach? Wow. It's just suddenly just crashed. Crashed and burned the stream. I don't know. At least you guys can still hear me, right? Weird. Okay. Well, let me try the Discord again. You know, sometimes you have days. This is like Kansas City. Although, actually, this was going better than Kansas City. At least we were good up to halftime. Kansas City pretty much stunk the whole time. Let's see. Let's try this again. No?
Whole time. Let's see. Let's try this again.
Well, I'm hearing myself. Wow. Okay. Rain, are you there?
There's a big echo.
Wow, and you sound like an auto-tune nightmare.
There's a big echo. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, that's not going to cut it.
There's a humongous echo.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it. That's just strange. All right. Well, like I was telling you, when you go live, you just never know what to expect. Sometimes things just go perfectly, and then all of a sudden, bam, things just get weird on you. So I'm going to try to reset this. First, we're trying to get Bill back in here again, Coach Marsh. Coach Marsh, I see you, but can you hear me? Connection is unstable, it says.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're back. Can you hear me? Coach, you there? Yo, Coach.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I can hear you. I can see you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
We good? Thumbs up?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. I think. Coach, are we connected? I'm getting the sense that I think we're connected.
My connection's strong here. There's something about Monday night, huh?
Okay, all right. So I
You
guess
sound like a drunken sailor on my end.
So something happened on the connection.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, it's like really delayed though.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, you're like
Can you
way
hear me?
behind me, but you're like way behind me for some reason.
You sound like a kind of a drunken sailor there. Like, yeah, I can hear you.
Drunken
But yeah,
sailor.
I can. There.
All right, let me try.
My connection's strong on my end, so I'm not sure what it is.
All right, might be my end. Hold on a second. Let's try something here.
There, now I can hear you loud and clear now.
Really? Yeah, it's good. No, but see, we're not connected. There's a delay in time. This is so strange.
I'd be curious in the chat if they can hear us.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't.
All right, we're going to work together on this. Yeah, we're having some kind of strange latency issue. So, first of all, I just want to check with
frozen.
the chat. Yeah, weird, because I feel like I'm not. Okay, first of all, in the stream, the audience watching, give me a yes or thumbs up if you can see me okay. If you can see me and hear me okay. Yes, we can hear you. King Wu-Tang like Kim Jong-un, stop it. Oh man. Anybody else can you guys hear me? Give me a yes. Okay, so you guys are picking me up. I'm gonna try to get Coach Marsh in here again. All right, Coach Marsh. Coach Marsh. Coach Marsh, you there? This is fun, isn't it? You can just have 10 minutes of me going, hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Let me see if I can send him a message. This is so bizarre. See, watch. There's Coach Marsh. Does he see me waving?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. Thumbs up.
Hello, can you hear me now? Yeah, I can hear you, and we can hear each other.
So delayed though. Something's just so off right now. I feel like we're caught in a space-time continuum, and Coach Marsh is 30 seconds behind me. Travis Blankenship says Tom Brady is God. Alina Dahl says Coach Marsh is Back to the Future alternate timeline. It's so weird. I just don't know why that's going on. Oh my goodness. And now he's giving me a call. Let's try this.
Brutal.
All right, hey Coach. Nothing like troubleshooting Wi-Fi problems on live TV.
Yeah, I got you frozen. My Ethernet's is strong.
Oh, so I can see you, but you can't hear me.
Yeah, you're choppy on my
Okay.
And I can hear you fine, but you're choppy.
Okay, let's do this. This is fine because as long as the audience is fine, then I think this will work fine.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
So, do you need the phone on in order for us to communicate?
Okay.
Is the phone a necessary thing?
No, I can hear you fine now. It was really choppy. You sounded like a drunken sailor.
Okay.
Marsh on the line, and we're talking. It was a great Super Bowl because Elena Dulcet takes shots every time somebody got sacked.
It was so weird, man, because I think what happened is as it slowed down for me, somehow your space-time continuum slowed down and became behind me because I would ask you a question and you'd answer it like 15 seconds later. I'd be like, hey, coach, can you hear me? And just be sitting there. Coach, is it clear? Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me. And then you're still sitting there. And then 15 seconds later, yeah, I can hear you. It's loud and clear. I was like, this is so weird. Anyway, we're good now, right?
I only had 0.7 gigawatts of energy going into this. And I know I need 1.21 gigawatts to make this work. So,
all right.
Who knows? I don't know why it's choppy.
All right. So,
hey, from now on, Coach's Corner on Tuesdays.
Yeah, Monday's just not happening. It's just a weird glitch. All right, so let's. And I don't know if the phone calls were happening. We're having weirdness in the phone. We'll try the calls again. If not, we'll move to the next plays because if it works, it works.
You're entertained with your halftime. I can tell you in 10 seconds, maybe 1 second, what I thought of the halftime show. But go ahead.
Right. Let's try it. Hey, Rain, are you there? Rain?
No, I can hear you now, Norb.
Okay, I think we're Coach. Can you hear Rain?
I can hear it.
Okay, hey, we're back.
Rain
we just had like 5-7 minute mess up.
I-N.
Rickson. I call him Rickson. But he goes by Rain.
Rain's my guy, man. Rain is my guy.
He was on your panel, the opening panel. All right, so you're back on here with the show and with Coach Marsh. What's your question for the coach?
So, do you think, like, in the Super Bowl, Tyrann Mathieu, do you think, like, he did enough? I know he missed a couple tackles, but do you think, like, he should have pressed up or zoned back? Like, what more should he could have or would have done to help out that defense?
Well, I think what they should have done is change their scheme up from a standpoint of once they realized they were not getting to Brady, then drop back 8 guys. So it's not just so much him. You can't ask one guy to do too much. He has to do his job and cover his area. So whether it was change and just lock guys down, tell guys not to turn around. But I would have stopped trying to rush 4 guys, or try to blitz a little bit more. I mean, you got to choose one or the other. I'm a blitzing guy by trade, but in this type of game, I would say, look, if let's let Tom pick us apart underneath, which he was doing, but no more deep stuff, and let's make sure we know where our assignments are. So I don't think he could have done much more. I mean, he had his interceptions and he made some pretty decent plays, to be honest with you. It was the other players that were messing up.
All right, thank you.
All right, Rain. Thanks for the call, man. Let's get another one here. Let's go to another one of your panelists from last week, over the weekend. Let's go to Nick LeBeau, also a member of the NORBFAM. Hey, Nick.
Yeah, I'm glad I can hear you again and you aren't all choppy. But yeah, my question is...
I'm in the dungeon.
Do you think that if Kansas City had their entire offensive line healthy, even though their defense could not cover anything, do you think they would have won or still would have lost?
Norb, this is why Nick LeBeau is week in and week out when he gets on the line, the unquestionable and undisputed champion of question asking. Because the one thing that people have not talked about nearly enough is the drastic changes that took place to the Kansas City Chiefs line recently. I mean, it wasn't just, most teams, if someone gets, hurt, they're just going to kind of insert somebody. They had 3 guys that for the most part were completely, they took left guard, moved to right tackle had to move over to here. I mean, it's crazy. And when you do that, it's not as simple as just moving from, one wide receiver position to another wide receiver position. Every lineman has a completely different assignment on every play. I mean, different things they need to do. So, if you've been spending most of your season, running a certain ISO play and taking certain steps to get to a certain player. And now all of a sudden you have to move to a different thing. And we talked last week about how you have that camaraderie of the guy to your left and guy to your right. When that's all messed up, yeah, I mean, that's without a doubt that was, causing some hindrance there. It was just one of a handful of things, but I would definitely put it in one, if you were going to list 5 things, without a doubt, that's one of the 5 that I would list. That your offensive line gets messed up like that. Very hard to create continuity when that happens. I mean, look at the Seahawks, right? Look at the times where we had everybody all, for that series of time, things were going great. And then when it fell apart, it didn't work. And then we were all excited that they were going to come back together for that last game, yeah. But they hadn't been together, and it takes time to get that continuity. So yeah, great question, man. Because I agree 100%. That was a major turning point.
All right, great question. Yeah, and it hasn't been talked about. I put a little survey on YouTube just to see what people thought was the main cause of the loss or the win by the Bucs. Was it the Bucs defense? Was it Tom Brady? Was it the injuries? Was it penalties?
Yeah, you bet.
Interesting. But I think Coach Marsh is still in the delayed world. Coach, you still there? See, he's still caught in the space-time continuum. Coach Marsh somehow is still caught in the space-time continuum. I wonder if he's hearing a drunken Norb-Cam version right now, because he has no idea what I'm talking about right now. How about now?
What are they saying? What is the survey saying?
Oh, there we go. Most of them just said it was the Bucs defense. Yeah, it was the Bucs defense. But
yeah, because you guys are chopping out too. I just don't know why.
Yeah, weird. Okay, well, so we're just trying to make this work, but
I tried to put a banana in a beer can in.
Let's do this. Let's just, since the call interaction is a little bit off, why don't we go to the next play? Because I know I can just let you kind of run things there.
Yep.
Nope, he's still in another world. I think I'm gonna, Coach. You're probably not gonna get this message for another 30 seconds.
Let's go into hyperspace.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
I think, all right, this is what I'm going to do, Coach. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to eject you. I'm going to eject you out of this space-time continuum. We need to reset you. Can I get you out of here?
You want to come back in on the Zoom?
Oh, actually, you're good now. How many fingers do I got up, Coach? Like my internet's connection's not
well, you still sound like a drunken sailor when you threw 3 fingers up.
Well, I think we can do this, though. It is so weird. I don't know.
I feel like I'm on Comedy Central.
I think it's on my end because I've been getting this. My internet is unstable warning, which is never good.
I feel like those guys that were walking. Yeah, well, if you can make this out, I feel like those guys were acting during the Weeknd's performance last night, where they're all bumping into each other, running around, whatever. That's what this show feels like tonight.
Oh my goodness! Oh, let's just. All right, this is too funny. Okay, all right.
Oh man,
we're gonna try something here. All right, let's see if this helps. Let's see if this improves things at all. I'm going to kick in my alternate connection here.
I don't care if it's yesterday or today, just no more of the Weeknd. No more of the Weeknd.
Yeah, you're like, sound like my dad. All right, let's try going to you. Let's take the next set of plays, shall we?
We're not going to be breaking the views record tonight.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Maybe they'll flock to the mess up.
Did you pay the internet bill this month, Norb?
I'm pretty sure. All right, Coach. Let's reset the. Let's reset.
You can't hotspot for these shows,
All right, I'm going to kick you out and have you come back in. All right, putting him out. I don't know if this will work. Bring him back in. Alita says this is cracking me up. This show's better than halftime. Coach, can you hear me? No, I must still be a drunken sailor to him. All right, I'm going to kick you out. I'm going to kick you out, Coach. All right, now rejoin, Coach. If you're channel I'm going to use a force, use a mind meld. Coach Marsh, rejoin the Zoom. Hopefully it'll be better this time. All right, we'll wait on that. Anita Dahl says, he said, this is cracking me up. The show is better than halftime. Oh, I do want to make sure you guys put down in the chat what you thought of the halftime show. I got to be honest, I was kind of half watching because I was taking interview calls and stuff like that during that part. So, there's the coach. Hey, coach. Hey, I kicked you out because I thought maybe we should have you rejoin, not just go in the waiting room, but actually rejoin.
Since you kicked me out, since you joined with that link, so I'm going to send you a link.
Oh, send me a link. Oh, that's good. Let's try that. I
can't rejoin the same meeting once you kick me out.
Okay, all right. Send me a link. I'll look for it. All right. This is great. This is tech support 101 right here.
First class.
All right.
Tell you what.
So I'm going to end this meeting. I'm going to wait for the meeting from Coach Marsh. And while all 5 of you wait for the show to resume, this is great. There's so many doors. DJ Squabo is in the house. What's up, Squabs? Squabians? He says he liked the halftime show. I like some of the Weeknd's songs. He's not like my favorite artist, but obviously I liked him enough that I did one of his songs in my own music prediction video. You guys remember? That? Ooh, I'm blinded by the light. How did I start that song again? You guys know the song better than I do. It's crazy. There's some of the guys who are the real hardcore members of NorbCam, and they will be repeating song verses to me of my songs, and I'm trying to still remember how they go. They know it better than I do. It's wild. Okay, opening up this Zoom meeting. We're going to give this one more try here. See what happens. I'm joining it. See, joining the meeting. The clink is cold and empty. Watch out, here comes the Vikings. Oh, wait, don't worry, it's just Kirk Cousins. I said, ooh. All right, there we go. Coach, are we back into current day? Are we back in the current space-time continuum? Please. Do I sound like a drunken sailor?
Ever since Elena Dahl said take those shots, all of a sudden everything went wonky.
How about now? Are we good?
But yeah, I went back to November 27th, 1955, and then I came back. And
all right, so we're good, right?
Can we start the show over again?
Okay. Well, wait, the show must go on. So
here we go. Let's
do the next play. Let's
do it. Okay, let's go. So here's what we have. This is going to be the running play touchdown that we saw early on. So I'm going to just again run the play.
Oh, so for a net touchdown.
But again, spacing, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable how they're able to create space. But here's why. And I know that people, you got to see the play, but watching it again, with the, having the all 22, what's great to see is how everybody, and again, they start in this jumbo package where they have everybody, big power side on this over here. So that similar look that we saw, later on, the Brown touchdown was actually later. So here they get the run earlier. So the same look, but now they have to stay smart on this backside because of what they'd done earlier, right? Where they'd done a little play fake and threw back here, even though he's right-handed. So as the play begins to develop, you get everybody just caving down. And one thing that that I learned, again, talking to NFL and college coaches, that the standard usually is you just don't want to be outflanked. You don't want your defensive end, to be outflanked from a standpoint of this guy right here who's the end man on the line of scrimmage. He's outflanked literally by 2.5 guys, meaning 1, 2, and half of this guy he's out leveraged because of his alignment on here. So as the play goes on, and they just want to cave things down, their whole goal all along, and I know one of the pundits later was talking about as well. Their goal that you were able to figure out as time went on is they wanted the corners or the secondary to make all the tackles. That was their game plan. We're going to cave down and crush everybody inside, and we're not going to worry about the DBs. And I love that philosophy. Anytime I had a big back, it was like, hey, Receivers, don't even worry about that. Come downhill on the linebacker, come downhill on the safety, or getting these jumbo packages. Because again, they're out leveraging them based on how Kansas City's playing. So they easily can get the down blocks here. They can get 2 guys down to get the down block here, and they're out leveraged even here. So every single player for Kansas City who's not a corner, and usually don't count corners when you're talking about leverage from this standpoint, they're all out leveraged. This D-end's out leveraged. This linebacker is out leveraged, and this quasi linebacker safety that's come downhill out leveraged. So not only do they have that taken care of, but they're going to bring a big horse around the outside to just to make sure, because they didn't do that earlier. They ran this play a few times and they didn't pull anybody, and Fournette was still able to get yardage. Well, what did they do this time? Because they were able to handle it. I mean, look at everything that's taking place here. Walled off, angle great, about to be walled off, and we're just going to bring dessert around the corner. Done.
Jeez. Yup.
It's unreal. I mean, and then here's, Honey Badger's going to get upset or whatever, but there's nothing, he can't do anything about that. He's got to protect over here, so that's not his fault. And it's really a very simple play design. It's not like they're doing anything special, but they're doing it by leverage. The leverage and the angles of the game. Again, we talk triangles in space with passing and angles up front with the line. It is just amazing to watch in the Super Bowl. And I think that's why I'm over animating how amazing this is and using those type of words, because usually when you get into Super Bowl, you just don't get outclassed like this. Like they were, when they say teams are outcoached, this is what they mean. One team's scheme was, hey, we're going to do what got us here. And another team said, hey, we are going to find the disadvantages that we can create and see if we can make the most out of those. And that's what they did. They did stuff early on that allowed for later in the game setup stuff, and this was exactly that type of deal. They'd run this play 3 times earlier. They ran it great without pulling a guy, but hey, let's just clean up the mess and pull a guy. I mean, geez Louise. A guy running a power eye right Norb runaround could have scored on that one.
Coach Marsh, let me ask you something, because this looks vaguely familiar. When we played the Giants in that game, in fact, it was one of our early coaches' corners, and you brought up the play where Jamal Adams chased him down and didn't give up on the play. That formation and that play looked very similar to this, except it was the opposite direction, other side, was it not?
Yep, exact same situation, and maybe Honey Badger catches them if they're out there on 20-yard
right.
line. But yeah, it's the same great call out there, Norb, because it's the same concept. Again, they're bringing in this jumbo. They brought in, and again, it's not a third tight end because it's essentially that tackle eligible who's checked in. So you got your typical 5-man line that's here, and then they've got 3 extra guys, an ineligible receiver because he's covered up by the tight end. So your eligibles really is this tight end, this quasi wing tight end because he's back off the line, and then this guy, we don't know if he checked in or not, but he could be eligible, and they have to be aware of that too, right? Because they've run the certain.
They ran that earlier,
again,
yeah.
Just the base, and that's why you run something like that. Again, the guy didn't catch it because the linebacker made a nice play, but when teams start doing those plays, you have to respect it. You have to know, gosh, they have trick plays in their arsenal. Norb, have we talked about trick plays this year at all? Have we heard our super chat people talk about we want trick plays?
Yeah, we haven't talked about them because they haven't done them.
They don't happen, right? But when you do that, it just opens up everything because now the passing game's there. But look at how everybody has to flow to the run because the whole running play is being caved down. And so you always are taught fight against pressure for defense. So whatever alignment is doing to you, you fight against it. You cannot go around it, which a lot of times people wonder, why didn't the linebacker just run around that? The speed is too fast, even at the high school level, let alone at the college or NFL level. So, but again, this is what I'm talking about. This last piece I'll say on this, so you can really understand this concept of being outflanked. Remember I said this defensive end is 2.5 men outflanked. Outflanked, that's obvious. But notice his hat, he's inside shade here. So he's outflanked as well. So it's kind of stunning to a degree that they're playing it the same way they would if these 2 guys weren't even in the picture. Mm-hmm. You took these 2 guys out and you just looked at it like a traditional 5-man front with a tight end. Flanked, and now this is what you get. You get great step here, right? Great step, boom. That when we talk about taking a great first step, that's getting the leverage, staying low. Okay, he's won. They've won. He's won the match. They know he's not going to get there. So all that matters is as long as these 2 guys take care of their job, because everybody else is. And the way these guys are playing it, it looks like an inside run that's coming, and Fournette's just too good. I mean, he's now in an offense that's doing stuff. The play is designed to go outside, though. It's not his choice to come and bounce it out. The play is designed to come up the field, downhill, and
because of the pulling guard.
Yeah. So it's already set up to, hey, we've run this play before without pulling them, and we saw on our little Microsoft tablets when they see the pictures that at this spot, and they usually will take the pictures for people that want to know how that works. They take a picture just before the snap. That's when they can send it. They're taking video, but they can send a picture down just pre-snap and then within a second post-snap. So they can see that how a team lines up, and then what do they do within the first, basically, the way I look at it is the first 3 steps that a team's going to take. That's what they're kind of sending down. So they took the pre-snap picture, boom, they saw what they lined up in, and then they saw something like this from the sideline view and said, oh, okay, we've run those 3 plays inside, and these guys go here. Let's pull out our play where we pull our guy. And that's what you get. And they're just caught up in the wash. And this guy's done. And his job, he's secondary force, right? We've talked about this a million times. The corner's job is he has to force everything inside. He cannot get beat around the outside because he's trusting that somebody's going to get here. So he actually does what he's supposed to do. So you can't get mad at him at all. He does what he's supposed to do. But there's no help. Easy touchdown.
Didn't they, again, reference that Giants game, they pulled a guard in that play too, didn't they, against us?
Yep, they pulled the 2. They pulled
one
guard and they brought another guy around. Remember, we saw that, the
big chasm. Yeah.
Crazy, yeah, just absolutely unbelievable. So final 3 plays are going to be on the Kansas City side.
Oh, boy. Okay.
People were more concerned. And I think I got to give Chef Jack Attack some credit. He was calling out all along, even on our stuff he called in last week on Roundtable, and then our show that we were doing, that it was going to be defense, just defense. And I agreed with them that as much as we were talking offense, what defenses were going to step up and make things happen. And here's going to be a great view of what they were doing. If you were just going to take a picture of what did they do, right? How did they line up? And this is earlier in the game. It's not like way where they're getting crushed, but you can just see how their alignment is over the top. They're saying, look, we're not going to let Hill and those other guys beat us deep and all their trick plays, because Kansas City doesn't have patience. They're not a team that wants to just methodically get down. They want to get up quick and score and get a lot of points and win with big plays. They're not a 10, 12, 15 play drive type of team. They don't want to necessarily do that. So what you get here, make sure up, yep. As we watch the play, again, look at the umbrella. When I talk umbrella coverage, I mean, that is true umbrella coverage from the get-go. I'll look at that play for the first time. And remember this, so this is the play that gets picked off. Again, another massive momentum swing play. But one of my favorite drill that we would teach in the first day of spring ball and the first day of fall ball, the very first time we come to 7-on-7, it was getting our 7-on-7 group, and we'd tell them drop back to 25 yards. And I talked about this in the earlier coach's corner. 25 yards, 30 yards, 25 yards, get to your 15 yards, 15, and just stay there with your feet chopping. Okay, 7 on the offensive side. Run your route. DBs, as soon as the ball's thrown, break on the ball. And we're trying to teach, keep the umbrella, and safeties, make sure the play stays in front of you, because it's way easier to pick the ball off when you can come up to the football. And I mean, how many times did we see Tampa Bay come forward to break off a pass?
Yep.
But here's where you talk disguise and coverages a little bit. These guys were playing deep quite a bit. But now all of a sudden, as the play starts, you get a switch here. So this guy jumps downhill really hard. So he's looking at the great coverage. But look at the safety. Because a ball that's going to be thrown 10, 20, 30, 35, 40 yards potentially, much easier to break forward on a football than it is to be with a guy and battle with him or be behind. So look at the coverage again. Over the top. You got a guy over the top with a guy matched up. You got a guy over the top, and you got a guy over the top. And all these guys are running deep routes.
Sounds familiar.
It's thrown. Yeah, Norb, it's exactly what I was thinking. You're so spot on, because when you don't have the simple outlets and the easy stuff, and you're just, because you've been able to do this. Remember when we heard Metcalf say, "Well, teams figure this out eventually." Well, this is a team that figured you out, and they decided to play the defense. A lot of teams will figure you out, but they're so caught up in their own defense or their own offense, they just can't change. This is how we do things. right? We're not going to change. Well, they said, look, against Kansas City, we have to change. And we have 2 weeks to do it. And so now you got guys that are breaking up on the ball, knocking it out, and then guys are just flying around. And this is for young players that are out there. That's why every time someone's running with a football in their hands, you keep running to try to tackle them. And when the pass is in the air, everybody should be sprinting to the ball, because every once in a while something like this is going to happen, right? Even the announcer, pass is broken up, going to be incomplete. Oh, it's caught, intercepted, right? You think it's just going to be an incomplete pass, but they are just flying around making things happen.
I don't know how many times in sports when you talk about that hustle play. I just watched my daughter Sophie play her first volleyball tournament in months on Saturday, and we always talk about follow the ball. If there's a ball that's getting, that's flying out of the gym, someone's, it's way out of position, that person might get an amazing save, but if you don't chase that ball to help follow along, that you never know, you might not get there, and a big save will go, hit the ground and be wasted. So. And there's a lot of sports, I think, where it's just, if you just don't quit and just keep in the play and follow the action, you might find something, lucky go your way. So
absolutely.
And that played off.
It's a lesson we all try to teach players, and you hope that everybody does it at a different level. And a guy like Adams did that type of play, right? So it's neat. Metcalf did it when he chased down. When you think you can't, go after and make something happen. Okay, so you may have seen it flash up that this is second half of the fourth quarter. Right, so there's 6 minutes to go in the game. So what could we possibly be picking up here? Because we know that the defense is playing deep and whatever. This is about the hometown guy. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit homer on you, but this happened early in the game, and I couldn't believe when I saw it. And I was like, holy cow, I knew he was good. It wasn't just because because the lineman's getting tired. This play is all about one guy, just one guy on this play. Regardless of the fact that the throw is made, regardless of the fact that it's completed or incomplete, it doesn't matter how the outcome of these type of plays go. It's the play and the effort of a guy who's 300 plus pounds, just driving his guy all the way back. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Again, when I go back to Super Bowl level play, and this goes to what Nick LeBeau was saying, where if a guy's out of position and he's learning it, he still should know how to pass pro. But maybe he's thinking, gosh, where's my help? Where's my help to the left? Where's my help to the right? Someone must, be coming to help me, because, nobody's really rushing hard here. They're not rushing hard here because they don't have to. But again, my focus is just on this was taking place early on. I have to go back to start where the start of the play was. Ball's at the 48-yard line. Okay, let's watch the drive back on this. Okay, 48, they engage right here about the 46, 47. Look at the leg drive and just drilling his guy straight. When they talk bull rush, this is what they mean. If you hear the term bull rush, that's a bull rush. I mean, it is so awesome. I mean, it is just off the charts awesome what he does there. So again, I just felt like I needed to show that type of a play because it's special. It wasn't just Tom Brady. I would look at this and go, man, this guy was doing this type of stuff all game. The other thing that they were doing, which I'm going to show you here on the last play, is they were doing more stunting and looping than I'd see a team do in a long time. So these front four guys, almost every play, were doing something different earlier in the game. Now this is I pulled this out at the end, so we were a little bit more in sequence of what we were doing. But you go back and watch most of the plays, and you're going to see guys crisscrossing, looping, twisting, and I'm just talking about the front four, all going different directions, and multiple guys. There were so many times where two guys would be going one direction and the other two would be going looping around, or the end and the other, end and a tackle were going, and a linebacker's looping and a defensive tackle's looping around. I mean, it was crazy. And you could see where Mahomes' head was just on a swivel, like Russ's at times, where he's looking for where are these guys coming, and he's no longer paying attention to his reads down the field. So I'm going to play this last one regular speed. And again, the focus here is the front three, front four here, the way they're coming after it, looping around. This is the big side. I mean, he doesn't even see that it's coming, and it takes place. But this was happening early on, and there was a play just like this that when he got sacked, he turned and looked at the ref, and I was like, Mahomes, what are you even questioning? I mean, yeah, maybe you got hit in the head, and I get it, but you're questioning the fact that you just got drilled and didn't even see it coming. It's not about the fact you got hit. It is, but it isn't. Because here, what you're going to see on this play, guy starts on the outside.
Is that the linebacker? Is that the linebacker, right?
Yeah. So what you see is he starts off outside. So And what he does, you're waiting to see if the quarterback doesn't look at you. So this whole time, this timing before the snap is, can I switch spots as quickly as I can? And Mahomes is certainly going to see it. So don't get me wrong. It's not like Mahomes doesn't notice it, even when his head's this way. But at this point of the game, maybe not so much. Early in the game, yes, he can see it coming. But as he switches over, Mahomes is pointing, he's talking, pointing out who the Mike backer is for the lineman for protection purposes. This tackle that I want you to watch, and this is why I like the game within the game. Late in the game, still some really neat stuff to learn. This tackle right here, his head's to the left. Okay, so now, at this point, Mahomes is pointing out who the Mike backer is, so all these linemen have to communicate now who their blocking assignments are based on Mahomes pointing here. Well, this tackle is now looking to the left. It's at that point that this guy makes his move. Not when Mahomes is looking. He goes when this guy turns his head. Now the whole blocking assignment changes on this side. And these guys have to make that adjustment right now within a second of the snap, because I'm going frame by frame. So now this has to be changed. They do an okay job, but here's the design. Hey, we know Mahomes likes to get out of there, so your job is to contain it, get up the field and contain it. We know that Vea is just, he has to command a 2 or 3 guys. Our defensive end over here, instead of him being a contained guy, we're going to loop around and get him around. But what happens is, because this end up here beats his guy so easily around the corner, he just comes after him, I don't know why that keeps coming up, which forces Mahomes in a position where he can sense it's coming, but he has no idea that this one's coming. I mean, it happens so fast. So let me take it back to regular speed after everything I've said. Okay, so we got a guy who at the last second jumps around, a guy his job is going to be contained until he sees that he's got it, he gets it. Vea is going to command a double team. And this guy who's in a really wide technique, he's going to come hard in here. So everything smushes down in here. Vea's got the crush up here, ends coming here. And there's no idea that this guy's not only come to here, but that he's going to come to here. And then here we go. Checks around. Snap comes. Vea's got his thing. And ends just checking. Now I've got end. And then boom. It's done. The play's done. And there's no one to throw to. Right? He's waiting. This goes back to our Seahawks concepts of why I love the West Coast. The West Coast offense is not about that. I get that it's long, that there's a long ways to go. But earlier in the game, there was a 3rd and 30 something. And you know what Mahomes did? He threw it short to Hill, who ran it 28 yards. Like, hey, let's get a bunch of it back. Instead, you get into desperate times. And what is the coverage doing to kind of put a bow on this? What did they do all game long? They didn't try to play tight man-to-man. They didn't try to go under them and try to do this stuff and get them with linemen. They said, look, we are always going to stay 5 to 10 yards on top of you and break on your deep ball. He's on top of him. This guy who you think this guy's covered or he's open, well, no, he's not. There's a guy who's sitting over the top of him, sitting over the top of him, sitting over the top of him, sitting over the top of him. And that's what they did all game long. So that's why, on both sides of the ball, Norb, and on special teams, it was just, and I didn't even pull a special teams up. I could have pulled up a couple things on there as well. But it was just very evident, not that one team wanted to win more than the other. And obviously Kansas City had been there last year, but this game was over 10 minutes into the game. And Kansas City had no answers. And when you know the game's over that early and you're starting to look at I got to get to halftime. You can't make adjustments between quarters during time. You can't make adjustments at that point. And by halftime, they'd lost all that momentum. If they don't get a score at that last 8 seconds, I think maybe they can fight back and make it happen because Mahomes is magical that way. But so much had been deflated, they didn't have an answer for it. What are you going to do there? You can't run faster, to run behind those guys. And offensively, the running game's working, short passing game's working, everything else. It was game over.
So great breakdown, by the way. I love it. I love all those details and see things that clearly we didn't, don't process, one time viewing it. But
are you going to be able to edit this down to 40 minutes so people didn't have to see the 3 hour extended?
I could actually cut out that middle spot later. Save the future viewers the trouble. But watching this, it felt like this is what Seattle ran into in the middle part when things got murky, when we stopped cooking and we started hitting those buzzsaw bad situations where Russell was getting sacked and nobody was open and he started throwing interceptions. It felt like Kansas City got a taste of that medicine, and it felt like we always said, well, teams started to figure us out. Well, it seemed like they figured out Kansas City out. And by this time, there's nothing they could do about it. But didn't it seem like, isn't that kind of what it was, is that they figured out what their game was and they didn't have a counter move. They didn't have the stuff that we keep talking about when we need the short passing game, committing to the run. It just felt like that's what they just kept doing the same thing. And they had it all covered up. That's what it felt like.
And that's, to me, that's what makes the parody, quote so great about the NFL is that that's why I couldn't give Mahomes this baby goat talk. I mean, I struggle whenever we do that to people that are, that are younger, that still have a lot left to prove. Again, will he potentially be one of the greatest? Yeah, I think he will be. Will Metcalf be one of the greatest? Yeah, I think he will be. But they're not there yet. When you really look at some of these things that happen, there's teams that are on the rise. There's teams are smart. I mean, they're paid to go and do this. The difference is what staffs are put together where they can do this. Now, who's everybody talking about? And you'll see where this lines up. Who's everybody now talking about that should be a next head coach, right? Coordinators, we already know about Bieniemy, but now all of a sudden you get Knowles like, hey, he should be the next coordinator. Some guys are meant to be coordinators. Some guys are meant to be head coaches. Like I never claimed to be the best X's and O's guy. I could manage. Like I could let my coaches coach, let them do their thing, hire great people, have them do their stuff, call the big stuff I need to. And yes, I was offensive coordinator, but I had lots of help doing that. So I feel like I was made to be a head coach. Then there's guys that are built to be coordinators. And so you get Tampa Bay, who, you get a coach who's destined. He's just great to be a head coach. I like how he calls things. Players love playing for him. He gets the right coordinators that are doing things on both sides. He's got Tom Brady as his offensive coordinator, really, right? And then he's got the perfect guy who's made to be a defensive coordinator there. So that was our struggle this year on our team, was it just felt like we had a defensive coordinator who wasn't willing to make an adjustment the first half of the season. And then something woke him up to, I need to save my job, because I think our super chat was getting into his head a little bit. And then we had an offensive coordinator who wasn't willing to make certain adjustments, not massive wholesale changes, but it became so evident, and you could just hear it in the players' voices, right? Like, hey, we know what we need to stop. We know what we need to stop, and we're going to do it. And that's what the Rams did. So, but again, that's why, Pittsburgh, they're going to solve their quarterback problem. I think they'll get a new quarterback or whatever. Roethlisberger, they'll come up. Other teams are going to come up. So it's not like, I don't see teams making the type of runs like New England did, because you're just not going to be able to. And it just showed right here, like Kansas City is now vulnerable. They're not this team of destiny, like we thought the Seahawks were going to be, right? Everybody thought the Seahawks were going to win 4 or 5 Super Bowls. If we get that, that second one, maybe we do. But it's just so hard, Norb. It's just so hard.
Well, it's, I was thinking about, I think I talked about it during the live stream yesterday, but talking about Kansas City, it's strange how we're in such parallels right now of where we were. Go back to 2015 when our Super Bowl 49 happened. That was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, we're almost in the exact same position where Kansas City sits right now. We had just won a Super Bowl, just like Kansas City won a Super Bowl last year, with a quarterback who, ours was in his third season. Mahomes technically is in his third starting season.
Yes, yeah.
Wilson was in his cheap contract, about to get paid. Mahomes, he got his $500 million contract signed this year, but they're not really feeling the financial effects of it yet. But they're going to very soon. And it's almost felt like that window was perfectly open. And now, granted, ours was this close. We almost closed that window by this much, or more like that much, whatever yard is for. But and it's so easy to say, we'll be back next year. But every other team is getting better,
And that's why it wouldn't surprise me. And Kansas City is not going to fall off the ledge.
Right.
However, you just brought up the greatest difference from a standpoint of, in that second Super Bowl for us, our really good guys played really well, right? I mean, we played a great game. We've actually played a really great game, but for a lot of plays, but obviously everybody remembers the one play. Here, yes, Russell had to go into an offseason having thrown that interception, but it's not like he played an awful game and we got blown out. And like we had a chance to win it. These guys were never in it. A Hall of Fame tight end dropped 3 passes that were right in his hands. Hill dropped pass right in his hands. They couldn't get anything going. So there's a big difference to me between, hey, we got to, we just lost a really tough one. It's going to be sour taste. And we experienced that. But it was like, man, we're still a team on the rise. Like we competed. Like we were right there. We could have won that second time. they can't say we could have won if it would have, should have, could have, as my old coach used to say. Like, hey, no more if it would have, should have, could have. There is no we want a rematch. They don't want a rematch with Tampa Bay. They had a chance at them right here, and they made no adjustments, didn't do anything. So, they got to sit on that all season long. Mahomes had a great season, has to answer why the worst game since probably high school for you. First time you've been beat by more than 7 points in your career, and all this stuff. So I see that being again similar parallels in terms of time frames, really apples and oranges to me in terms of, and I'm agreeing with you when I say that, in terms of how things might shake out coming out of it, and with Mahomes already having the big contract, and they've got to work all those things out.
Well, and I think what's different between, like you just brought up, the team's perspective versus the fans' perspective. I think as fans, Kansas City fans could probably digest this pain a lot better than we'll ever process 49, because you'll always remember how close you were and how it slipped through your fingers. Whereas when you get blown out, you kind of go, well, just wasn't going to happen that day. And you can kind of live with that a little bit. You won't really be thinking about, if only we'd done this, if only we'd done that. Yeah, so you can kind of just write it off.
Well, they had a super team. Everybody came to play for Brady and took discount. Like, well, no, it's the NFL. Like, you're all good.
Yeah. But then it comes down to, I think the team has to, like you said, the questions on, wow, how did our team suddenly fall so far? And I argue that it's possible that team had it too easy this whole year. I mean, really, did they face any real tough adversity? I mean, I know they were 14-2 with a game that they lost at the end because they didn't play their starters. So they only lost one game to the Raiders. And the rest of the time, it seemed like it was pretty easy for them, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe not.
Flip it, Norb. Think in terms of what Tampa Bay did.
Like, they had a lot of...
They had to go on to get here.
Yeah. Well, they had to make moves. They had to make, they're constantly adding to the roster, beefing things up. But they started off, I think they lost their first game, right? Didn't they lose their first game against
Arians and Brady were like this. I mean, every day was a soap opera. Like, they couldn't figure it out.
So I think, there is something about that. And again, it reminds me what made that heartbreak for the Seahawks in 2014 was that season. If you watch my documentary, you'll recall how difficult that season was and how we were on the point of almost not making the playoffs. Most people had written us off at 6-4, and then we went on that 6-game winning streak to get the number 1 seed. That coming together made us
in the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
and had to play tough games.
And Brady had to do that the last 2 games to get in. They had to go beat New Orleans and breeze, and then they had to travel to Green Bay and beat Rodgers and do that. And so it's
and then not that Kansas City had an easy one. They had to play a pretty tough one against Cleveland and pull out all the stops when Mahomes went out. So they did face some adversity there too. But I just think as a whole, that team didn't really ever face that feeling. None of us ever had that doubt like, this offense will never be stopped. I certainly bought into it that this defense was the offense was going to be explosive, that you're not going to be able to slow them down. But for the first time ever, we saw them slow down.
So I'm going to say a comment that kind of resembles what you and Abker were saying about Detroit. But the only time I hear Cleveland, the only thing I think of is you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. Can you name the famous coach who said that line?
I do not know.
The Seahawks were playing them. Sam White, when they were throwing stuff on the field, and he said, you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. Elena Dahl will remember that. She was probably watching that game. That's the only thing I think of when I think of Cleveland. So to me, Cleveland was not a big matchup. I just still don't see Cleveland as being the.
Well, yeah. But the bottom line is they had their toughest game. I mean, my point is they had to pull some tricks out at the end to get through that game. But that was because Mahomes wasn't playing. This was obviously they were facing some adversity, but just not as a team. Not the kind where you felt like we need to adjust what we're doing. Right? It never felt like they had to adjust.
Well, they felt like they were at full tilt here. You had Mahomes, you had receivers. Yes, the O-line changed, but I mean, it just. There's a reason they were a heavy favorite. I mean, it just seemed like it was kind of no brainer.
Yeah, that was crazy. Well, it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from this, and this whole season. Oh, and I know you still got a point to make because you said you had some good news. I'm so tired of, how I feel about Tom Brady. Like I said, I'm respecting the heck out of everything he did on the field, but I was rooting with every fiber of my being to watch him lose. So it pains me to watch all these brilliant plays done by him because. To be honest, I'm just tired of the movie. I'm tired of seeing this movie. I don't need to see Darth Vader kicking the rebels' butts one more time. It just, but yet it happened again. But you said you're going to have some hope for me here.
Because it's Tom Brady? Is it because when Michael Jordan was playing, we wanted to see greatness over and over and over. And especially if you watch the documentary, it's like, gosh, those 2 years off, that could have been 8. And they retired because of all this stuff. Like what makes us, is it because, when I was talking to my wife, she said, well, because he wasn't caught up in controversy like Brady was. And I was like, well, yeah, but still, it's still greatness. Like, he's still a great player. I get that he's got, Deflategate, which I still don't buy into a whole lot. Other than, yes, the following year they fumbled the ball more than they did the year that they had Deflategate. But that being said, I still love watching greatness. So if Brady won 5 more, that wouldn't bother me. But I know it would bother 99% of the people out there because they can't stand it. I just think we're not going to see a player that does this ever again. I just don't see it ever happen.
I mean, that's the positive side to it. That I have to respect the fact, and I do say that. I say that what we watched the Patriots do and what we're watching Tom Brady do will probably never get repeated again. I can't see it happening. It would have to be the perfect combination of things that is hard to replicate in any in the era, especially with the way the league is going.
He's 3 games short of playing 3 full seasons of playoff football. Think about that. Nearly 3 full seasons worth of playoff football. It's just crazy. Yeah,
it is crazy. And it's and when you think how close he was to winning those other 2, the Giants victories, they were like a miracle catch away from that being 2 more in those games too. And so, but I want to level the field. Well, first I got to ask you, did you comment while I was gone in in flux capacitor world on the weekend? No, we didn't. We were so busy trying to troubleshoot. How was the weekend? I commented a little bit before we got into it, but we didn't get that deep. Because you're quite the entertainer, man. So I'd be curious what you're taking. You should have done a breakdown, a illustration of it. Yeah, well, unfortunately, when we were at halftime, I was taking calls from people, so I was talking to people. So we had one eye on the show, the volume kind of low, so I really didn't have like a full immersion into the show. But just my overall impression, I thought the set was cool. The weekend, as a performer in general, he's got a Michael Jackson-esque voice. If you ever hear his original recordings, he didn't sound so much that way live, but he has a very high-pitched voice, and there are times when I swear to God he's channeling Michael big time on purpose. But he doesn't perform like Michael Jackson. He doesn't have the moves. He doesn't have that charisma that I'm used to goes with that. So from the standpoint of the performer, I just thought it was a lot of set, a lot of heck, you put me out there with about 500 other dancers dressed up in the same uniform, I'll probably look pretty cool out there. But I just didn't get real captivated. Cool. Especially if I'd had as many shots as I would have taken based on Elena's rules, you'd have been great. Yeah. So, I was never that impressed by watching him before the show, before the Super Bowl. And then watching the Super Bowl just made me go, it's kind of what I already thought about him. I like his music. I like to listen to it. But I'm not a big watch and be awed. Not a great live performance type guy. So I was actually surprised when they announced he was going to be the halftime show guy. I was stunned. I was like, because it's not Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, all those guys. He's a very popular artist, and he's sold a lot of records, and people know his music. But to me, he's not that level of he is must-watch performer TV. You know what I mean? The kind where you have to stop. Yeah. Yeah. So I was never crazy about it, and he was pretty much what I expected. So yeah. Yeah. So I got to ask the super chat. Don't you think next year Norb should have a halftime performance that he just plays during as musical as he is? I think at the Super Bowl, instead of watching that, if you're watching Norb, put my own alternate. He puts his own halftime performance on it. Now I want royalties for that because I came up with the idea. But I think if you have a year to come up with something good, man, by then you have 250,000 subscribers. You could go double platinum YouTube halftimes, and that starts a new trend. People just start doing their own halftime shows. Kind of like when they have the Super Bowl and they have the Puppy Bowl. People who don't want to watch the Super Bowl watch that. I'll be like the Puppy Bowl version of the halftime show, basically, right? This would have been a good year to do it because nobody, from what I saw, the reactions, and not a lot of people were crazy about the weekend either. So this would have been a perfect time to this sucks. Let's go watch Norb's Puppy Bowl halftime show instead. Yeah. That'd be probably good. Actually, I should just do a show where I'm singing with a bunch of puppies, and that would be freaking gold, man. Yes, it would be. That would be awesome. It would be. I think I'm onto something. You'd, of course, have explosions behind them. Not exploding. Lightsabers. Not exploding puppies. No exploding puppies. Although that could be very, compelling as well. But no exploding puppies. I think it'd be golden, man. I'm in on it. I think the super chat would love to see you do that. Brilliant. All right, so here's the good news. Okay, I want some good news. I'm tired of Brady news. Let's have some good news. So this is how I always look at the day after the Super Bowl. Even when all those type of things. So I look at it as good news.
You can take it however you want. It's not one of those that after the Super Bowl ends, everybody's even. But at the same time, we are now officially talking about the 2021 football season. So when I wake up in the morning this morning, the first thing I'm thinking is we are going to the Super Bowl. This season, the Seahawks are ready to go to the Super Bowl. This is our season. We're in first place. I take that whole positive mantra and I do it right now from day one. I don't wait till August. I don't wait for the draft. It starts right now from the mindset of, especially the 12. Yes, we're 0-0 like everybody else, but like take stock, right? Offensive coordinator we got, winning Super Bowl coach, quarterback that's won the Super Bowl, the defense with Adams, all these great things that are taking place, and we are equal to everybody else in the league, but I think we have such a better shot at it. And I always think that it's about us having the mentality that we have it. This is the year. It's 2021. The season officially has begun, Norb. Like we can start talking Seahawks football, what's happening this season, because this season the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. So which is why tomorrow I think we should do a live show, just all like a marathon all day on why this is the season that we're going to the Super Bowl, because it's right now.
Yeah. Plus, when you said 2021, well, if you take the 12 and you turn it around.
That's exactly right.
It's 21.
That's why I started the show with reversed image technology problems. So we could close it with reversed image technology problems.
No, I love it. I love it, man. And I've been going nuts because someone started this internet story rumor that Seattle is entertaining trade calls from teams.
Two
because
teams.
They called and said, "Hey, what do you want for Russell Wilson?" John Schneider says, "Nothing." Okay, thanks. I just thought I'd check, and all of a sudden it's a story, right? Now, am I crazy?
It doesn't matter because he has a no trade clause in his contract, and trust me, after the pictures I saw him sending out, based on Halloween having 10,000 pumpkins near the lake in his Lake Washington home and all this, he's not going to some other city. Like he loves it here. He wants to retire. I honestly believe he does want to be a lifer here. Like even though he did that last minute thing. So again, that's why I take today and go that, like, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl. Like, what do we need to do? We already know what we need to do. It's the season. This is the 2021 season. We're not talking about next season. How is the Seahawks going to be next? This season is the season. It's now. It's already started. We're in this season. So how exciting is that? That we are now in a position that we're tied for first. We're the best team in the NFC. We're the best team overall in the NFL. Everything's working for us. Russ is leading the MVP categories. We're leading the league in rushing, passing, defensive efficiency. Name it. We're in the tie for first.
We got two brand new coordinators, the Rams passing and run game coordinator, who Russell approved of. From my understanding now, is that he was actually in on that decision making. Whether you like that or not, Coach Marsh, it sounds like he was lobbying for that. So they seem to all be in union about what they want to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, I have to say on the passing game coordinator, and then we could wrap up here, because people have asked me, like, what is this passing game coordinator thing? And I always tell them that for years, I had, on my staff, I had hydro technicians. And they were very, very important, these hydro technicians. And I started naming them that about 3 or 4 years into my career. Essentially what they were water boys and water girls. But man, they didn't want to be called water boy and water girl on the program. But as soon as I called them hydro technicians, I had like people lining up my office door wanting to apply to be a hydro technician for our football team. Next thing I know, I got like 18 hydro technicians bringing us water during the games. But man, you elevate someone. It's like you go to these companies now, and there's like 18 vice presidents.
Right.
It's vice president of this and vice president of that. So the passing game coordinator to me, you're a guy who goes in and you talk about the offense, but you understand it. You understand the knowledge, and so that's why they're putting these guys up, because I think it's helping. The passing tree, the coaching trees go out there. But to be a passing game coordinator, I love who we have. So I'm not saying that. I love who we have, but it's a kind of a glorified way to kind of elevate someone who's not in a coordinator position to being a quasi coordinator, because they've sat in some meetings and they understand the offense, which I think Shane does.
Well, I guess we will find out in time, right? Nobody really knows until we actually see it out there. But I like the promise of what it's going to be, since we know there's definitely some things that are missing, and hopefully that.
So all you 12s out there, talk about this season. Don't talk about next. Don't say it in verbs of the form of next season. Talk about it
this season. To get rid of next, it's now we're in the now this season.
We're in this season. Yeah,
all right,
it's a mindset.
Well, we're going to try to get one call in here, because we have one caller who decided not to give up on the drunken pirate. What do you call it? Drunken pirate captain or whatever.
A drunken sailor. You sound like a drunken sailor. Well, I tell you, on the Zoom thing,
that was the funniest thing you've ever done.
He's like, "Oi, how are you? I'm trying to hear you, Coach Marsh." And I mean, it's just classic. After Elena had said her thing, I'm like, "Norb, quit taking the shots. You were acting like a Buccaneer, like a pirate." It was so classic on my end.
The reason it's so
probably said the same on your end, but you're like, I can't hear you, Coach. I'm like, okay, it's not working, man. It's definitely not working.
It's so funny because I've had that happen so many times. Usually it's never on a live stream, but you know, when it does happen, it is the funniest thing ever. You do that way too well, man. I think you found your calling and drunken sailor imitation voices. All right, let's see.
No offense to any sailors or anything military. Like, I love the military.
Don't apologize.
No offense to obviously.
Taking a little break there.
Okay, all right. So we got a guy called Tom Brady to Seattle on this on the call. And who is this? And where are you calling from?
13.
Uh-oh. Hello? Uh-oh. Well, the drunken sailor might still be here.
With somebody else.
I know. I guess Tom Brady to Seattle. No, not there. Hello?
Hello.
And that kind of is symbolic to the whole night right there. It kind of represents the whole night.
Hold on a second, Coach. Maybe we might have something. Like trying to find radio signals, looking for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence out there. Hello, are you there?
SETI. They call that SETI.
SETI.
For extraterrestrial.
Oh, wait. He says he's here. We found intelligent life. Maybe. Who is this and where are you calling from? Toronto. Oh, I think I remember you.
You had a call from Canada before?
I have. I had usually Vancouver. I had a Vancouver call. I had somebody from like practically the Arctic who was calling from like minus 30-degree weather. But this gentleman's from the east side of.
I hear Toronto's a beautiful city. What's your question, man? I'm glad you called. Glad you stuck with us for 4 hours, like a Super Bowl.
Well, since we finally got a home team in the Super Bowl, I was throwing out the idea that the Bucs logo should have been at the 50-yard marker or something, because it made sense.
Oh wait, did he say he's from Tampa?
No.
He's from Tampa or Toronto?
I think Toronto.
Toronto.
So Toronto.
Oh, you're saying because it was the home team that they should have the home team logo
home
there?
Team.
The Super Bowl is still a neutral. It's still an AFC versus NFC event, so that's why you have the NFL logo there at the middle of the field, and they usually put the trophy Roman numerals around the 20-35 yard line, those things, and then you get both teams in the end zone. So to me, that you're trying to create that perfect balance, perfect balancing piece. So that's why they do that. I think if you had the home team, like they do in other professional sporting events where they get to go travel, or if you play the best 2 out of 3, which I don't think Kansas City would want to do, then you could do it.
I think it was dumb.
I do wish that they would bring the game to Seattle. I think it's a joke that they talk about this warm weather. Look, people are used to cold weather. They'll go anywhere. If they had it in Green Bay, people would fly to Green Bay. I mean, look, we got to go to the 2 coldest things ever in terms of Detroit City, the city, even though it was indoor, and then go to New York.
In New York, and if it had been 12 hours later, we'd have been dumped on in snow. That would have been a totally different game. But
so to me, that they should do that.
Here's the other dumb thing about the whole trying to keep it a neutral field is they actually, because they were trying to keep the field neutral, they wouldn't allow the cannons on that Buccaneers ship to be fired after they scored, because they didn't want the home field advantage to be too strong, because if it was a neutral field, they wouldn't have that ship with the cannons on it. So they wouldn't allow the cannons to be fired. No, you got to understand, if 7,300 people hear that in the stadium, they're going to go nuts. And those other things were going to fall down, all those cardboard. The cardboard.
Right on their face. Like, talking about 72,000 drunken sailors. That thing would have gone off, and that whole thing would have just been done. And then they'd have gone, hey, Weekend, can you come back and play your B-side song for us with those 87 guys that were going crazy in the hallway? Man. That's
like they're so fun, as if they're that flimsily put on there. It's like they're just barely hanging on, and the cannon thinks they're gonna knock it over.
You throw those beanbags at the carnival, you hit those things, and they flop, and then all of a sudden they come back up.
What's funny to me is that they had like strong winds, right? Wasn't it like really windy at one point? So if a wind is gonna knock those guys over, what's a cannon launch gonna make us?
Yeah, it'd have been gone. It'd have been like the wave. It'd have been like the wave. It'd have gone, and they'd all just
shockwave, like dominoes falling down.
See, someone like you who does special effects as phenomenal as you do, like you should create something like that. Here's what took place in the stadium, the cannons, and they'll go down. Like,
my God, that's funny.
You know what? And I tell you what, I wanted so badly to break down a play and I know the guys, what he was representing was not good. But there was something that took place during the game, and if you were up getting your drink or whatever, you missed it. But there was someone ran on the field, and I know the NFL's policy is not to show it when it happens. And what I thought was classic was that Romo immediately made a comment, and then there was silence for about 3 seconds, and it was blatantly obvious that someone was in his ear saying, "Hey, we can't be saying." Like, he said something funny about it, but then Nance broke character and said something about it. And then if you hear the Kevin Harlan call on radio, he says something at the beginning. He gets quiet for a second, and then he's like, screw him, Kevin Harlan. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. And he's calling the play. But the reason why I wanted to break it down was if you go and watch it, the first time you watch it, you're like, how did that guy get tackled? He gets tackled at the 1 yard line, or kind of tackled. The guy who gets to him is from 35 yards away on the sideline and just beelines. That guy played college football. Must have, because he makes it was the best play all night. Him going and just the guy had to slide. If he doesn't slide, this guy, talking about the cannons going off, the cannons would have gone off in this guy's head. I think they already had gone off based on what he was wearing, but
I totally missed it. I totally missed it. I have to watch that.
Didn't want to.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've heard some good jokes on that one. Somebody said, I think, a comment on that saying, yeah, that guy who ran on the field had more yards than the Chiefs offense did.
He broke through the cover too. It was unbelievable. He got down the middle, broke through the two of them, and the two guys, I mean, the angles were poor. I could have done a 5-minute segment alone on that play, on that guy's play, especially the fact he got tackled at the 1. That's what made it so golden. There's just so much.
Do you remember the game? I know Kevin Harlan has done this before, and I think he talked about another person doing that on another. I've heard him on another broadcast. But remember, there was a squirrel on the field like 3 years ago or something, and it was like down by the 1 yard line. They called that. And that was funny because they don't mind showing that version. It's an animal, not a stupid person running out there. That was pretty funny. But I think one of the funniest of all was in the Kingdom during a Mariner game. There was a cat, a little kitty.
Oh yeah, and the girl was running on the guy trying to get it.
It's it was biting him and clawing him. So it was running on the warning track, and this staff guy is sitting out there to go pick it up, and he picks it up, and first thing to me, no big deal. I just get this cute little cat, and all of a sudden it just like digs his teeth and claws into him, and the guy's like, He
just does this crazy dance.
It's so funny, man. Google it or YouTube it. It's so funny. Cat in the Kingdom. Cat Kingdom Mariners, and oh man, it's so funny. You could feel the guy's pain because if anyone's ever had a cat that just dug into you, that thing is like needles, man. That's so funny.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Well, it's really been something, Norb.
It has really been something.
This is a Hall of Fame performance.
Oh man, a show for the ages, for sure, man.
Appreciate people sticking with us.
Well,
there's still sticking with us.
I don't know. There's a couple people watching. Let's go. One last call. Seahawks for Life is hanging on. We'll get one last call in and wrap it up. Seahawks for Life. Let's see if this works. Are you there?
I'm there.
All right, man. Remind everybody your name, where you're from, and what's your question.
Nikki from Coeur d'Alene.
Oh, that's right.
Nikki, oh man, I can hear you.
Coeur d'Alene, buddy. Great. Yeah. All right. So what's your question, Nikki?
So do you think we'll have a chance? So since we already know our Super Bowl, the next Super Bowl is in SoFi Stadium, do you think there's a chance we can make it into the next Super Bowl?
What I like is that your question is kind of based on the fact of where the game's being played, as if the game was played somewhere else, we might have a worse chance or a better chance, which is kind of what I sense from your question, which I like. We're 20-1. Those are the opening odds. We are the fifth ranked team as of today for this season. The Rams and the 49ers are ahead of us in terms of what people think. So I think that's great. So because of that and the fact of where the stadium is, I think we have a great chance. If we were playing at some other stadium, probably not as well. But I think we have an awesome opportunity for all the reasons I just said. Lots of hope, lots of great things that are happening, and I'm very, very excited going into the season. I mean, very, very excited for I think the fact that we answered questions right away and we're not lagging onto this Rams game, it was kind of exciting to get a new coordinator and others, even though I didn't want our old coordinator to leave. The fact that we did get a new one and Russ is excited about it, there just seems to be a pep in the step again for everybody moving forward. And it just feels like things are somewhat getting back to a little bit of normalcy. So, we're probably going to have OTAs and more things to talk about that we just didn't have this last year. So, yeah, I think we have a great shot at it. And I like the things that are going against us that I think we're going to be able to overcome.
All right, great question, and I'm glad we ended on a good note with our callers. That was a good quality call. The voice was clean. No drunken sailors in the house or anything. It was good.
Great city too, Coeur d'Alene, man. Love Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah. All right, so Coach, I know we're reaching towards the end of the show, so we want to let anybody know anything to look out for in your channel coming up this week.
Yeah, there'll be a couple things. There'll be another video drop from the past, from the prehistoric times with Norb, kind of highlighting some of the stuff that he did and we did together. I'll also have a one-on-one that's coming up, so I'll be actually putting something out there with regards to a weekly piece I'm going to do. That'll be between the hash marks, which is just a one-on-one with either former college or NFL connection types, people that have played or coached or what have you. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun doing that. And we'll have some probably a little mini round table potentially in the next 10 days or so. And then my first video that I'm actually finishing up as we speak will be coming out. So some neat things. And again, I appreciate everybody's support on the Coach for Life channel. And remember to, as I say, live life one play at a time. There's just some neat things that are taking place. And I'm going to finish with this. We watched the game last night, but, it's always fun to watch the commercials, Norb, and, you get the halftime and all those other things. But sometimes commercials, they'll kind of capture you one. And last night there was one that, for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out the whole time. And then at the very end, they said the reunited States of America with the RE capitalized real big. And here we joke around, we're having fun, all these other things. But man, that really made me stop for a second. As someone who's at my stage of life, who's gone through the stuff I've gone through physically, health issues, and then watched what our nation went through and all those other type of things. To have a commercial where they're spending all that money and not have a clue really what the commercial was about until the very, very last line. And it wasn't, it was a commercial for something else. But the fact of that line, the reunited States of America, I just hadn't heard that. And maybe I just haven't seen it or paid attention to people who are saying it. But man, it just hit me really in a really neat way that 2021, we are making some progress. We're doing some neat things. We're trying good stuff. We're, making things happen. So, and maybe that's why I got so much optimism for the football season, because I really don't have a choice. I don't want to think any other way, that we're not going to make this, country great, the way it needs to be. And you and I are going to have a great time and, just connecting the way we have and just all the people who are out there supporting us, everything else. So just really love that. The reunited States of America. I hope that's where we all aim to be.
Yeah, that's good. I missed most of the commercials because we were, doing our show, and so I didn't have the commercials up, so I really kind of missed all the fun. But that's good. I got to look for that one because I have not heard that. That's the first time I've heard that term too, and I'm kind of surprised because it sounds great and it really is
I've
fitting.
asked a few people and nobody'd heard it till last night. I was like,
phrase.
Marketing genius. Like, I love it.
Of course, you don't remember what the product was for that they were advertising.
I honestly don't. I don't remember that. That's why I didn't say it, because I didn't remember what the product was. But that was such a strong, to me, that was just such a strong message. It was just such a cool message.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to go check those out. I know the commercials are always
I was surprised I remember it because I was a drunken sit. No, I'm kidding. I don't have anything. So,
all right. So everybody, make sure you hop over and check out Coach Marsh's channel, Coach for Life. Watch his videos and give him a sub and smash the like buttons on his videos and hit that notification bell. He's got, as you know, he's got such great insight. And I can't wait to see what future guests you have on the show and just the content that you're going to be bringing up. It's going to be fun to watch as we go into this season now, 2021. It's 2021 for the Seahawks, and it's 2021 for Coach for Life and as well for NorbCam. So for me, again, everybody, just thank you for watching. For everybody who's in the chat and everybody who called in, sorry about the technical difficulties, but hey, sometimes it happens, and we just keep on smiling and roll right through it. But I'm not going to say that the show is over. As I've learned from Mike and some other YouTube experts, they say, don't say the show's over. You simply say that, hey, I got the screen you can watch right over here and check out this other video, like another Coach's Corner. Or maybe you'll come over here and see my my Seahawks 2014 documentary. Or maybe another reaction video over here. But it never ends. We just move on to another room. So
it's
feel
a time
free.
Continuum.
Check out, exactly. We're going to go travel in time to one of these spots right here, and you can choose. All right, so we'll see you in one of those other rooms. Follow me there. All right, I want to go this one. This was kind of cool. So we'll see you there. Go Hawks.
Sounds good.